important. And, you know, there are plenty of elected leaders who will talk about going on a listening tour. And what they really mean is listen to me. So it's about listening to the people, which is an extension also of a very important character trait that any president should have and any leader should have. Take it upon oneself to do something about it. Whether those moments when you are unpopular than it is to lose the respect and trust of the people.
Thank you.
When we created the first Electric XP 6 years ago, we knew we had one chance to make the most adventurous.
I'm not asking you to make any news here.
That was so clearly like a lead up to something. Come on, Michelle.
But you have many friends and supporters in.
And, you know, I was sharing with some of the friends here, you know, I've been traveling the country again, since I've been, I guess one might think of me as being currently unemployed. So I've had a little time. Had cut the lines in a way that excluded blocks of voters. And this administration and the people who are leading in a lot of these places, they know that the people are not stupid.
Let me know if you guys get audio. Somebody give me an audio check.
And groceries and housing and childcare. They know on merit that they don't have a whole lot to be proud of.
Wow.
And so they know that if the people vote, it is very likely that they may vote them out of office. And so they are cheating.
Whoa.
And that they don't have a whole lot. The people see that they're paying too much for gas and groceries and housing and childcare. They know on merit that they don't have a whole lot to be proud of. And so they know that if the people vote, it is very likely that they may vote them out of office. And so they are cheating. And they are not without power. So we have to counteract that. And
somebody let me know if you got audio. If you got audio so I can start the program. Somebody let me know if you can hear.
Around our country. We have to remind the people that the power is with them. We have to remind them that this is not a time
I'm waiting for an audio check.
That if you feel powerless, you will be powerless. If you feel powerful, you will be powerful. And we are powerful. And right now, there is so much at stake in these midterms. We don't have the court to look out for the needs about equality.
Somebody on YouTube, I need to get an audio check. Type in the comments if you can hear.
We don't have an executive branch.
Welcome to Line Girl.
Who's
Remember
doing
the
much
Gertrude.
beyond
I'm not seeing
attacking all
any comments
these
yet,
rights.
so let me know on YouTube if you actually.
But we can hold on to a democracy. We do have that third branch, which is Congress.
Okay, so let me know if you got audio.
Even one half of it. We can have some of the guardrails to stop the pain. And if we're only focused on 28, we're losing a lot of folks who need.
Okay, you're hearing me? All right, I got you now. Okay, fair enough.
Protected.
Let me go ahead and
from the attacks that we are.
Stop this. We're going to have an interesting program today. We're going to try to talk to a lot of MAGA today because we're going to end up putting TikTok on sub only just so we can get more folks on the right. I want to talk to as many folks on the right as we can make it happen. So hopefully we can actually do that through the program and make that happen. So we're going to sub only TikTok and take less callers from TikTok and hopefully more comments. We're gonna be addressing comments on YouTube and Clapper and on the app. So I'm gonna probably end up reading a lot more comments than I'm going to be responding to callers because we're going to set our live on sub only for TikTok. So, but there will be callers that come in across the other platforms as well, Instagram, Clapper, and Substack. So good evening, folks. Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. if you'll bear with me, I'm trying to get the other. I don't know why, for some reason, one of my platforms on TikTok allows me to reverse things. The other one does not, and I don't understand that. So it's crazy. Like today, I'm not going to be able to reverse my TikTok side. So it is what it is. But we'll go ahead and make sure it's that way on Clapper. Clapper allows me to do it. That's weird that TikTok doesn't, though. But nothing I can do about that for now. So let's see if we can get it there. Okay. So it is your boy Tim, indeed, the handsome liberal. We're going to be asking a couple questions. Number one being, what if Kamala Harris had been victorious? We're gonna talk about things from the angle of what would America be like had Kamala Harris been our president, and we're gonna be we're taking it from a standpoint of would we be better off or worse? I mean, because there's a lot of folks who have their own opinion on this, but I'm going to be playing some quotes and clips, all of that shit to spur that opinion. But we're going to be talking about what would the country be like had Kamala Harris been victorious versus President Trump. We're halfway through Trump's term. So, we're going to be discussing, I guess to some degree, are you happy so far with what you've seen from Trump? Regardless of your opinion about Kamala Harris, and there's a lot of folks that do have a negative opinion about Kamala Harris, sure enough. But how happy are you with President Trump? Do you think he is doing certainly much better than Kamala Harris would have done? Smokey, appreciate the TikTok caps. Start the program off right. Thank you very much. So that's what we're asking, a simple question. And like I said, we're going to put TikTok on sub only because I want to talk to more MAGA today, and we're going to be doing that through the comment section. But if you're one of my TikTok subs, we certainly will bring up callers. But this should make it so I can pay a lot more attention to some of the MAGA viewers in the comment section, because that is the goal. So looking in the comments right off the bat, all of the jump stories don't come I don't get this one. In the comments, Timothy, what does that say? Timothy Lee, you say all of the jump stones don't come is doing that. And you chose to talk about whatever you're trying to say is lost in translation. All of the jumps, I don't know what a jump stone even is. So I have no clue what you're trying to say. Anyway, I would have a good woman if she had won. So, Debo, you're saying if Kamala Harris had won, this would affect you somehow? What do you mean by you'd have a good woman if Kamala Harris had won? Somebody that you were trying to date or something? You got to explain that one. I don't quite get that one. But we're talking about what if Kamala Harris had won, what direction this nation would be. Would we be better off? Would we be worse? So we're going to tackle it from a host of angles. And in the comments real quick before we take our first caller, which is, don't know what happened. We'll go straight to the caller because, like I said, we're going to be short on callers because of how we got it set. We want to talk to a lot of MAGA in the comment section. But El Papi, good evening.
Hey, you do know I'm not MAGA, right?
Yes, I don't know. I'm fine with the callers being whatever. I'm just saying because I got it set to sub only, I'm going to be talking to a lot more MAGA in the comment section. But I'm going to ask you flat out, what do you think would be different had Kamala Harris won? Would the country be managed even more poorly so, or would the country be better off?
Look here, there's no way we'll be worse off than we are now.
Why do you say that?
So, with the economy, now this is where me and you are going to have a problem. I can already tell you.
What are you trying to say? Go ahead. I want to know, how would we be better off if Kamala Harris was our president?
Well, I don't think our economy would be as bad. I don't think we'd be in no war. I don't think we would have took over Venezuela. I think worldwide we would have all our allies back in place with trust in us. So yeah, I think it would be a whole totally different thing. Because right now we're on the abysmal path to nowhere.
Well, some would suggest that a lot of our allies would not be very respectful to us because a lot of our allies don't favor a woman in power. But before you respond to that, somebody in the comments, Timothy says, "What's wrong, Tim? You don't want to talk about the idiot that's in office today. We talk about Trump every fucking day. When is the last time you heard us talk about Kamala Harris?" So no, we're going to certainly talk about Trump plenty in the near future. I guarantee you that. But I'm asking from a standpoint of how this country would be ran if Kamala Harris. Now, what you saying, El Papi, that we might be more respected. What about the notion that a lot of world leaders don't respect a female?
That's a bunch of bullshit. And the reason they would respect her is the same reason why Trump is a bully, because they know we have a military, bar none. So yeah, she's going to get her respect, just the fact that the military that we have. So I'm not trying to hear that. Maybe they may not like her to her face, behind her back, but to her face, she's going to get all the respect in the world.
I don't, and it's a good point because I don't know what her level of respect was as vice president. She did meet with world leaders. I haven't heard of any of them really saying anything crass about her or disrespecting her. So it does appear as if she was being respected, at least on the international stage, as a vice president. So, to some degree. But what about President Trump? Has made allies with a lot of Middle Eastern nations. Now, surely they wouldn't favor a female in charge, would they?
Yeah, they would. Everybody would, man. They can say what they want to say behind her back, but believe me, when she comes in, representing the United States of America, the money and the military might that we have, yeah, she's going to get respect. Trump gets it, even though he's a dumbass. But he represents the United States of America.
Wait, I can't just let you call the commander-in-chief a dumbass. You don't reach the level of success, business or political, that Trump has while being a dumbass. Trump is a very intelligent guy. You may disagree with what he's doing, but how could you call him a dumbass?
Well, let me ask you something. You made a statement you can't reach the level of business and this and that.
Yeah.
What level did he reach? Because if I recall correctly, you tell me if I'm wrong, during the campaign, he was about broke until Elon came in. So what level of business did he actually get to, Tim? Explain that to me.
Well, take away some of the lawsuits that he ended up encountering. Take away those lawsuits, and he was at least a millionaire many times over. He was a millionaire many times over. He was a successful businessman.
Okay, let's take away the lawsuits that he accumulated. You see how dumb that sounds, Tim?
No, I mean seriously. Because the lawsuits ain't got nothing to do with the lawsuits have nothing to do with his business acumen. The lawsuits have more to do with E. Jean Carroll and some of that shit. But as a businessman, he was a successful businessman.
Tim, he had lawsuits for business. A bunch of people sued him because they didn't pay his bill. Creditors, everything. What are you talking about, Tim?
Wait. Every business he had, and he had a lot of them, every one of his businesses were not successful, but there were plenty of them that were. His golf courses are doing just fine. Many of his hotels and stuff like that were doing fine. Maybe his steak business or his casino ended up going belly up. And that's not to say, even with the casinos going belly up, that he himself didn't make a mint off of them. He still could have greatly enriched himself during the time that casino went from being open to being bankrupt. I'm saying his personal wealth was continuing to grow. He was an intelligent guy.
Oh, Tim, please. He doesn't even want you to know his record. Where did he go to? What school did he go to again?
The Wharton School of Finance, which, by the way, getting into the Wharton School of Finance is not the stuff of idiots.
Oh, no, it is. It is. Because you can buy your way in anywhere, Tim. But let me ask you something. If he's such a scholar, then why doesn't he want to release his records while he was in school?
The added scrutiny, perhaps. I mean, you're not going to.
How you gonna get scrutiny if you're a damn scholar?
Because no matter what he released, you know the damn liberals are going to find something negative to say about Trump no matter what.
That's bullshit. If you are in Walton School and you're a straight A student and this and that, can't nobody say shit. And I would be the first one to back him on that. Well, damn, he was in college and he was on the dean's list, XYZ, so we can't say that. Now, then I'll be saying, I don't know where he turned bad at, but it wasn't in college. But the fact that he will not release his college let you know, he wasn't that smart.
Well,
and, wait a minute, hold on, one more thing, Tim. We are talking about a guy that loves to boast.
Yeah.
And if he was doing anything in college that was really good, he would release that to let y'all know this is who I was in college.
Well, to answer your question, first of all, him getting into a prestigious financial institution like the Wharton School of Finance, I don't believe he was a top-notch student in the Wharton School of Finance. So I'll give you that, which is the reason why he wasn't, quick to release his transcripts or whatever the case may be. But the point I'm making is, if you merely if you are accepted into the Wharton School of Finance and graduate, you are among America's most intelligent. The point I'm trying to make here is, if somebody on the program once told me this, even if you're just a C as in Charlie, a C student in the Wharton School of Finance, you're probably an A+ student in the average university or community school, because this is among the elite. He made it into that environment and he graduated. So he is intelligent. He may not be, Einstein intelligent, but the guy is intelligent.
No, he got bought. His father paid for him to get in there.
I've seen no evidence of that.
I don't see no evidence of what you're saying either.
There is evidence he graduated. There is evidence that he was accepted to go to the school when he graduated. There is evidence of that. There's no evidence he bought his way in.
He won't release nothing. Have you seen a diploma from there?
No, I have not. But I would have.
Okay, then shut up.
So you don't even think he graduated? You think he's lying about graduating? That would be easy to find out.
I wouldn't find out.
Alexa,
there you go, ask her.
Did President Trump graduate from the Wharton School of Finance?
Yes, Donald Trump graduated from the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Finance in 1968 with a Bachelor of Science in Economics.
Give it up for the president. Can I send you a hat? Give me your address. I'll send you a MAGA hat. Or better yet, how about the Trump was right about everything hat? Okay, so he graduated. Give him credit. Get a man credit. The man, he's not an idiot. That's the point I'm making. You may not like what he was doing.
I still disagree with that. Still, I'm not going to say he's an idiot.
Thank you.
But I will say this. He's not what I expect out of a president.
Okay. And listen, I'm not gonna necessarily argue with that. I mean, he is not behaving in a manner that is of a traditional commander in chief. But that, like I said, that still does not make him an idiot. He's just doing things his own way, and that is to the detriment of a lot of folks on the left that don't like it. But Kamala Harris, do you believe Kamala Harris, in terms of intelligence, sheer intelligence, do you think she is a smarter, more intelligent person than President Trump?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you know what? We don't have nothing to prove this, but they're one-on-one when they went at each other in the debate. Otherwise, we don't have anything to say that. I could say she's smarter, even though she may not have been to that school. But when they were going against each other one-on-one, yeah, you could see she was way smarter.
Well, I'll say she's better at debating, because Trump was throwing some wild shit out there. But just because you're better at a debate does not necessarily mean you are smarter, because Trump may be able to get more done as opposed to diplomacy by bullying everyone. Now, I'm probably on your side on this. I don't favor bullying everyone, but most likely that has been very successful throughout Trump's life, which is why now that he's in the Oval Office, he's doing it to world leaders.
Yeah, but now it's not going to be productive for the United States. As an individual, fine, you can bully another individual, but you're trying to bully the world, and that's not going to hold up. And in turn, I would honestly say, I don't know how we're going to get back unless we're going to have to shrink and make a public apology to everybody to at least get them to listen to us.
So you want a Obama apology tour of sorts?
We're going to have to. Ooh. We're going to have to. You know, and I know MAGA, for some reason, we don't need anybody. We can grow everything here. No, we can't. We're on a simple stage. You can't even get avocados year round here. You know, what about the housing? The housing's gone down because of the tariffs in Canada for the lumber. You know, we are suffering, and it's not going to come full-fledged for maybe a year or whatever, but it's going to come around and it's going to be bad.
Well, and I see in the comments, one of my viewers says Kamala would have had the left run shit while she drank. And I see somebody else said she was way drunker. Why do you believe folks are suggesting that Kamala Harris had some sort of alcohol issues?
Well, I got proof there. Well, I don't have exactly proof, but you can tell Trump is a dumbass. And I guess
stop that. Would you stop calling the commander? He's not a dumbass.
Oh, he's El Dumbass, yeah. But
I'm telling you, that man has reached the pinnacle of success.
And this is the division that we have. The same way I think El Dumbass is the same way they're thinking that she's a drunk.
So if he's so dumb, if he is so dumb as you would suggest, how the hell did he get 77 million voters, even to the point where Kamala Harris, being an African American, being a black woman, we'll just say, because she's Jamaican and Indian, so she's not African American, but even being a black woman, he took some of the black male votes even from a black woman. If he's a dumbass, how the hell did he do that? 77 million votes. Give it up for him.
Two things, and you say this all the time. One, he promised some good shit.
Thank you.
Okay. And the other thing is he found a bunch of motherfuckers dumber than him.
So what are you suggesting, that Trump voters are dumb?
I would say, yeah. On average, yeah.
On average, Trump voters are dumb. Where do you come up with this stuff from? These folks are working Americans.
You know what? I didn't believe it. I didn't know this. I swear, before this election, I had in the United States, I figured we're pretty intelligent. But by listening to your show and a few other shows, I am so wrong.
What have you heard from MAGA in particular to suggest that President Trump's voters are dumb? That's a hell of an insult. What have you heard to make you come to that conclusion?
It isn't so much what I heard from them. It's the agreements that they give to him when he says dumb shit.
Example?
And when he said, they're eating cats and dogs in Ohio.
Well, they don't have access.
And not only do when he says stuff like that, then they come up making lies about, yeah, I've seen it. You know, and come on, man. I didn't realize how stupid motherfuckers were. Not only do you get caught up in his lie, but you lie for his lie.
Well, Selena on Clapper says that Trump is the best president ever. So some folks obviously disagree with you. I got to move it on, but go ahead. I'll give you the last word.
Case in point, Selena, another dumbass. Case in point.
Oh, my God.
How can you sit there? What has this man did for you to think that he's the best president ever?
That's a good question. I'm currently not prepared to answer that, but I certainly will see what my viewers state in the comments. I got to move it on, El Papi, but
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me, man.
anytime. Best president ever, they suggest. So we'll see what happens. Thank you. Tap the screen and get the likes on up to 25,000, if you will. We're trying to have a discussion with as many MAGA as possible. So I set it to what do you call it, subscriber only, so I can tackle more comments in, more statements in the comments as well. Oh, El Papi, you got Kamala looking good with the hat, the TikTok cap. Appreciate that. So the hat, mustache, gold, all of those will go to Kamala Harris, I guess, as opposed to me. Looking in the comments, the Democrat Party is a bunch of idiots. Every single one of them, says Gerald Shaw. I would love to have you elaborate, just like when he said MAGA voters are idiots. You're saying kind of the same thing for the Democrat Party. So I would love for you to elaborate as well in the comments. What would make you say that? You can see her drunk on so many interviews. Hulk, I don't know about that. Hulk Smash, love the name, love the action, but I don't know about this notion that Kamala Harris is showing up drunk places. Because now I've met her in person. She certainly wasn't drunk today. I met her because I've never drank in my life, so I can really, really detect alcohol on someone. And I know for a fact that Fox News has deliberately slowed down some of her speeches to make her. I think they did it to Nancy Pelosi too. I think they actually got caught doing it to Nancy Pelosi. So, because now the left believes that Pete Hegseth is getting drunk like that. I don't fucking know, but I haven't seen any solid evidence that Kamala Harris is getting drunk. And I watch a lot of right-wing media. I have not seen them present any solid evidence that Kamala Harris is drinking like that. In the comments, charges dropped. Who would have thought? Charges dropped in, what do you mean there? Arson suspect. I'm looking at that. What is it? Why do people ruin and destroy their reputations for Trump? Wealth. Pursuit of wealth, power, and I'm not going to pretend like that's not happening. Alter ego. Kamala says, thank you. She looks kind of good in that hat. Not necessarily with the mustache, but she looks good with that hat on. Got her looking like a black cowgirl. Money and power. The question being, why do people ruin and destroy their relationships with Trump? There's a lot to gain. There's a lot to lose. But there's even more to gain. I mean, take someone like Rudolph Giuliani. If Trump had won in 2020, he's going to enrich that. Now the problem is you don't always know if Trump is going to reward you for your efforts, though, because there's a lot of former MAGA that put in a lot of effort for the Trump campaign to be successful, and Trump is throwing them under the bus, such as Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, a lot of the internet people, but also a lot of politicians like Massey is another one that, they were really putting in a lot of effort to help propel the Trump campaign to the top, and now Trump is up there trashing a bunch of them. So, but they're doing it in hopes of getting power and wealth. Tap the screen, get the likes on up to 25,000. We'll go back to the box. Give the shots to the birds for me. Kamala says she wouldn't do anything different than Biden, says Chef Safe. Here's the issue with that. I've asked the question, now that we're at war with Iran, and many believe that Israel is the reason for it. I've asked a lot of my beloved MAGA, had Kamala won, would we still be at war with Iran? And in effort to deface Kamala, the answer is overwhelmingly yes. She wouldn't have done any better than Trump. She would have got us in this war too. But that does clash with what my viewer just stated. Kamala says she would have done nothing different than Biden. We were not at war under Biden. We were not even at the threat of going to war with Iran under Biden. Iran was not even coming up like that. We were nowhere near going to war under the Kamala Biden team like we were under Trump. So if Kamala Harris had have done exactly what she stated, no different than Biden, it's safe to assume we would not be at war. It's pretty safe to assume that because Biden was not leading us down that direction at all. So you can view that as a plus or a minus, but the folks who are trying to deface Kamala Harris by making it sound like she would have made perhaps one of the same mistakes of Trump getting us in war, you can't say that and bring up that she said she would do nothing different than Biden. Tap the screen. Kamala, classic establishment, no war with Iran bullshit. Well, you do realize that President Trump also campaigned on no wars too. He may have went backwards on it, but it ain't like Kamala Harris was the only one doing it. Trump was promising no new wars constantly. So go figure. Let me go back to the box. We'll go to Deimos or Deimos, I think it says. Good evening, Deimos. Welcome to the program. Deimos. You got echo. Deimos, are you there? Okay, apparently not. We'll move on with the program. We're asking the question, what if Kamala Harris had won? Do you think we'd be a better managed country, or do you think it would suck even more so? Would America be worse off? Mike, the boss. Good evening, Mike.
Young fella.
Yeah, good to have you
What's
on.
going on?
We're talking about the potential of Kamala Harris. Before we get into asking you, because I do have a second topic, I want to run this by you. Something I seen on News Nation, the cable news outlet News Nation last night. I want to ask you, this is kind of a question of how the hell do you talk to a socialist? And I want to get your opinion on this. I want to get your. Now you've seen this lady all over the media on Fox talking about defunding everything, the Pentagon and everything. You've seen that video, right?
Yeah.
Okay. She's back in the news again, but this time, this is a different take. I want you to. Chris Cuomo of News Nation is going to ask her, "What is a socialist?" I want you to hear her answer, because I want to ask you, how do you talk to a socialist? In fact, I'm going to ask the entire audience, but I want to hear, how do you talk to a young aspiring voter in a capitalist country that's talking about promoting socialism? Listen to this.
Voters, that's who the party is. And that's where we are.
You have 2 or 3 self-identified Democrats are not afraid of the word socialist. What do you think that means?
I think people are seeing that capitalism is not working for them, that this unchecked, unfettered, big businesses, the oil companies getting richer during a war, like they see that. They see it over and over and over again. People my age, I'm about to turn 43. My whole adult life has been this, just less and less, the wages just basically the same, and cost of everything going up. Everybody sees it. Everybody's hurting. My generation now, we're about to send our kids to college. How? Have you looked at what college costs now? How are we going to do this?
How do you respond to an aspiring socialist talking like that in a capitalist country? How do you get her back on track? Because folks on the right, a lot of my beloved MAGA are suggesting that socialism would fundamentally destroy this country. What do you say to somebody like that?
You know what? First of all, MAGA having a position on anything else is laughable to me. First of all, they voted for fascism, so I don't think that their starting point is having a real conversation about. Do you genuinely think MAGA voted for fascism when all of the great things President Trump promised, the Gilded Age, make America great, ending wars, lowering gas prices, bringing down your groceries, cutting rents and energy bills in half? Is it really about fascism? He promised some really, really good stuff. Well, again, Tim, if you could read, you would know that none of that shit was going to happen, because that's what he told them, but that's not what their agenda, that's not what his agenda said. But that's a whole nother discussion we can get into.
But they're not going to read his agenda if he's standing in front of them talking to him.
They're not going to read anything, Tim. What the fuck do they read?
Well, do you really? Wait, hold on. If you can turn on Fox News every damn weekend and see the man speaking and telling you what he's going to do, why would you go read? He's telling you what he's going to do. Well,
because that's, again, Tim, if you believe the words that come out of his mouth, then that's a you MAGA problem, because he's never held his word. I mean, are you fucking with me today?
Well, I'm trying to. The belief is, if you ignore what's coming out of his mouth, and then let's say some liberal says, don't pay attention to what he says, he's full of shit, he's lying, here, come read this. Well, the belief is going to be that shit is written by the liberal media. Why the hell would we not believe him and trust some shit that's written by CNN?
Well, because he's never been a truthful or honest person to begin with. But again, I mean, he just never has. But how do you bring someone back? Listen, capitalism isn't working for everyone. You know that. I know that. Capitalism is matter of fact, capitalism for the most part, well, for a lot of parts, isn't working for them. It's only working for the top 1 to 10%. I mean, if it were working by their design, they would be the only ones with all the wealth. They want it all. Even the they want it all. They're not trying to share.
Define they.
The 1%, the 1%, the oligarchs.
Yeah.
You know, the Trump, this administration, they want all the wealth. Why do you think they're moving the way they're moving? I mean, we see it every day. The man is about to redo the grass at the White House and all this other bull. You saw that bullshit, right?
The helipad and all that shit.
Yeah, they have no problem allowing him to do the very thing that they all complained about. I'm gonna be honest, Tim. If they believed what he said, they wouldn't still support him today.
Explain. What do you mean by that? What has he said? What has Trump said that would lead MAGA to not support him?
Because all the things they voted for, right? Lower gas prices, lower groceries, less government, and all the things, and all the frivolous spending, and all the things that he said he was going to do for him. He's done the complete opposite.
Bro, that's not totally correct. He secured the border and got our immigration policies and stance. I mean, what he's done for immigration is a miracle compared to Biden.
Tim, that's separate. That's separate. Follow me on this.
Okay.
That's part of the hate shit. Let's just be honest.
Okay.
That's part of the fascism hate shit. That's what I'm telling you. He sold them on fear-mongering Hispanics, fear-mongering LGBTQ, fear-mongering Black people, fear-mongering everyone else, while he simultaneously said, "I'm going to give you all of these things." But he knew that the hate was the selling point. So when people, if I'm lying, when people come up here, they talk about immigration, bathrooms, 1350. As soon as you start bringing up the real shit, the war, the gas prices,
let me get that. Immigration, that's obviously Hispanics. Bathrooms, that's the LGBTQ community. And what was the other one? 1350.
1350.
That's Black folks. Wow. What is that? So it's just all hate.
Cats and dogs. Haitians eating cats and dogs. Listen, they got their 5 talking points, and that's what they lean on. That was by design. But the real issues, no new wars, even going to be better for our, for geopolitics and all that. He's failed miserably on the real things. Miserably. The beautiful bill is terrible. The economy, tariffs, all of that shit he promised them, he was never going to deliver on. Never.
Well, in defense of Trump, how about this? And by the way, folks, help your boy out with the hat, mustache, TikTok.
Chat's on super fan only, right? You know, Chat's.
Oh well, either way, then. I mean, I'm doing this. I do want to talk to more MAGA in the comments today, which is why I deliberately, because I don't think it's going to be a whole lot of super fans. That's why I said it that way, so I could focus more on the comments. But hat, mustache for a few people that are tuned in. It's still well over 100 people, but I just think that. I don't, like I said, he promised good shit. It can't all be about hate, can it?
Yes.
All of it?
Yes. Tim, listen, not only is it all about hate, they know it's all about hate, because everything that if you think about everything that they demonized was really about humanity. Because they didn't have to do it the way. You can talk about deportations without demonizing the people that if you want to have better immigration laws, you don't have to demonize the people to do it.
No.
Do you?
And I see in the comments one of my viewers stated that enforcing laws on the books is not hate shit. But when you say you can enforce the laws without demonizing people, the thing about it is, if you're going to have a gung-ho goon-like style, this Gestapo style, what Trump is doing with ICE, The only way you're going to do that is you're going to have to demonize the people to get folks to understand. Yes, it looks nasty. It looks messy what ICE is doing, but we have to do this. These people are raping and murdering everybody. You got to demonize them. Otherwise, you can't just be wrestling grandmas to the ground and shit like that. It's one thing to wrestle with grandma to the ground. It's another thing to wrestle grandma to the ground and find out that she's a serial pedo or something. So you got to add something to it to justify it.
Which is exactly what I said it is. It's fear mongering and it's hateful and it's dehumanizing people. So you're comfortable about it. They went the same thing with Nolan Wells. They did the same thing with George Floyd. I have to demonize the thing so I can go, well, you get what you get. You got to, if you're doing smugs, well, it kind of comes with the territory. So I don't care if you're, graping and murdering people. Well, you kind of get what. To move forward with their agenda. That's what they did. That's what they do. That's what they're still doing. Let me say it this way, Tim.
Sure.
And they don't. And here's the thing. And it's not. And I said hate, right? Because the hate transcends. They were trying to put a former Olympian
in jail,
in prison, to not own the fact that they fucked up on a project.
Yeah,
they would rather find a scapegoat. And I told you from the beginning, anybody that believed that shit, you want to question them. Do you know how long 350 feet is, Tim? And
that's longer than a football field.
So who the fuck is in the reflection pool? You got to get down in there on your hands and knees with a damn razor or a knife to go from one end all the way to the other with a knife, Tim.
What is it? Now, that question was asked to the Secretary of the Interior. What is the guy's name who used to be the governor of North Dakota? I always forget, Burgum, or what is his name?
Yeah, whatever it is.
He was on, I think he was, I watch the Sunday shows every Sunday, Meet the Press and This Week with George Stephanopoulos. And I think he was on, he was on one of them, and they asked him about, what you're talking about, the sheer length. How can this man put a 350 feet gash in this thing without somebody seeing him? And then he actually spun it to say, well, it was multiple cuts that add up to 350 feet. So that's what he said. It was multiple cuts that adds up to 350 feet.
Now, watch this. So now, Jeanine Pirro, who's been nothing but a staunch Trump supporter, sort of like MTG, is never steered away from him, has to come out and tell the truth. Now she's getting excoriated for telling. And this is what I was talking about the other day, Tim. You cannot move. And then how many MAGA you think have turned on her?
On Judge Jeanine Pirro? Jesus. I mean, that's crazy to even I mean, they always say one is too many. As devoted as Judge Jeanine Pirro to Trump is, it would be crazy if even one to turn on this because of this, but she's getting hate mail. I'm sure it's probably hundreds.
They have. So what would you call that behavior? That is pure coldish behavior.
It's love of Trump.
And
it's love of
these
Trump.
People are motivated by hate, Tim. They're not getting anything out of this. What is the middle and lower class getting out of this right now? We're getting more divided, and what are you getting? The only thing you can lean into is the hate.
Yeah.
You ain't getting anything else out of it.
Well, they're getting something that it's the perception of a future benefit or a future victory, and that is we are preventing Iran from becoming a nuclear nation. So that's something that right now is not tangible, but the notion is our children going forward will be safer because of what we're doing right now. So yeah, we're kind of suffering right now in terms of the economy and the price of things. But in the long term, we will benefit by having Iran under control. Same thing with the tariffs. We're paying extra money because of the tariffs right now, but in the long run, it will bring manufacturing and a lot of business back to the country. So and I'm not saying I subscribe to any of this because I don't. But the belief is that it is short-term pain for long-term gain.
And you said perception. Now,
yeah,
I would like you to speak about the realities about everything you just said real quick. Speak about the realities of what's actually going on.
Well, the reality of it was and I'll be candid with you. The realities of it is there are experts that analyze both of these, whether we're talking about the Iran war or we're talking about terrorists. There's not a lot of analysts that agree with the Trump administration. There's not a lot of folks on the international stage that agrees with him in regards to the cause of the war. There are people in this country that are in the military, on the intelligence agencies, that said what the reason we went to war was unnecessary. It was an optional war of choice. So the war it's just not going the way Trump stated for the reasons he gave. And the same thing with the tariffs. Most financial analysts suggest that at the end of the day, we are going to pay for those tariffs, and that there are no signs that there's all of this manufacturing coming back or it's going to result in some kind of huge financial windfall, which is what Trump is saying. So that's what I've heard, even on networks like Fox.
And again, I don't believe, or maybe I'll ask you the question, because I don't believe that these MAGA supporters believe that they know that the perception is not the reality. They're just holding on to the perception because that's what they are hoping for. They want it to be. They know it's not going to be, so they lean into the hate. Tim,
I don't know if I agree with that. I think you're skipping over a unique position that Trump has, which is if Trump says it, generally in the eyes of MAGA, you're not going to be some kind of war ops specialist or some type of financial analyst and say something that coincides with what Trump is saying and get MAGA to believe you over Trump. So in the eyes of MAGA, for the most part, what Trump is saying is likely going to happen.
Right. But we're beyond, here's the thing. We're beyond forecasting. We're beyond opinions on most of this stuff. We're looking at actions. We're looking at real, tangible things we can look at and say, he said that, and look up. Just look straight ahead. And that's what's actually happening.
Yeah, but they have reasons for that. I mean, the Strait of Hormuz.
Oh, they have reasons not to look straight? Is that what you're saying, Tim? Is that what you're saying, that they have reasons not to look up? I mean, because
yeah.
And again, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you, but I'm actually pointing out the delusion, right? No one can look up. Yeah, and then here's how you know they're not sold. Anytime you hear a Trump supporter in this current day and age continue to say Biden and both sides, they're defeated.
Wait, say that again?
Anytime you hear a Trump that continues to support Trump right now, I'm only talking about those people. If they're continuing to support Trump, you will hear them say both sides, or you still hear them say Biden and Obama.
Yeah.
That's how you know they're defeated, because you should be championing and showing me his wins. You should be able to show. You should be able to just shut me down by showing me the thing you said he's doing. Okay. If I'm wrong, show me. But instead, what they do is they go, well, when Biden or it was happening before, and now you guys have a problem with it. All of the dancing tells you that they have nowhere else to go. That's the only messaging they have left.
Yeah, listen, I've said that before in many times myself, is that if you genuinely believe that, let's say Biden was the worst president in our lifetime, you shouldn't be comparing Trump to Biden on anything, because that's like literally saying, well, I bet, if Biden gets an F, just barely beating Biden is not saying anything. On the Republican side of the aisle, their champion was Reagan. You don't hear the right comparing Trump to Reagan on anything. I mean, it's just Biden. You guys claim he's the worst guy. Why is he getting all the comparisons? You should be way above that. Certainly if you're saying he's the greatest of all time.
That's what I'm saying. And that's the problem with the whole narrative. I thought he was so deplorable that if Trump was anywhere near what he's doing, you should find him just as deplorable. But the problem is, like I just told you, that was the bullshit they fed him. That was the lie. They got sold on DEI, woke, LGBTQ, Hispanics, blacks, being evil, being the Democrats, the libtards. They're the reason why you're not succeeding in life. It ain't us. It's the ones that have very little power in this country are the ones that are destroying this country, right? It's like blaming the janitor because you're not getting dividends from AT&T based on letting them tell it. If you let them tell it, We're not the majority. You guys have all the control, all the money, all the wealth, not us. So how the fuck are we hurting your pockets? You don't live in our communities. You talk about our communities, but you don't live nor visit our communities. You don't do any of that. So how are the people that aren't a part of your day-to-day life impacting your day-to-day life so much with no control?
Well, they're going to suggest that maybe their taxes wouldn't be so high if you Negroes weren't mooching off the system as much. Or the immigrants.
Right. But when you look at the data, it doesn't show that. Meanwhile, you have to do it through hate. They got to do it through hate. Wow. They put, I'm going to say this before I go. They put Lincoln Riley, her horrible unaliving, as their poster child to demonize an entire group of people while simultaneously doing nothing about crime in this country with anyone else. They haven't said, they don't talk. That's why I bring up the Travis Deckers. Yeah. I mean, because if one's too many, then three should be outrageous.
I can't argue with you. And I believe the family of Lincoln Riley started speaking out a bit about using her so much. I think they actually has spoken out against that. I mean, because obviously you're right. They made Lincoln Riley the poster child for how bad immigrants can be. So I got to move it on. But I agree. If one is too many, three should be ridiculous. But I don't think they always think like that, Mike.
And the sad part is the why. The why is because of the who. And the who is the white and the white man and when they allow that to be their calling card, they're not even protecting their own. And I've said this time and time and time again, and people call me racist because they're not listening. If that thing happening over there by those black and brown people is bad, then you've got to address it happening for your own people and you stay silent, which means you really don't give a fuck about the problem. You care about the hate.
Ooh, I don't totally disagree with that. Mike, as always, thanks for coming through.
Okay, Brody.
Appreciate it. Tap the screen, get us on up to 40,000, if you will. Help your boy out with the hat and mustache. TikTok cap goes. We do have it set to sub only because I want to talk to some folks in the comments more. I want to address some of my MAGA because we obviously don't have anywhere near as many MAGA, but I do like to entertain their comments as well. All companies reported high profits this quarter, says John. Not only did they report high profits, they reported record high profits. Now, Trump is addressing that. He is stating that that they need to lower the cost of fuel, and he even indicated they need to give some of their money back to consumers. Without legislation, none of that's going to happen. So, in my opinion, what Trump is doing is nothing but amounts to lip service. I mean, if you're capitalist, certainly if you're on the right and you believe in less regulation and in small government, you're going to be against telling a company to not make as much money. Certainly, you're going to be against telling companies to give profits back to the consumers. And Trump knows that. Trump is saying what sounds good during a time of economic desperation, but it's not going to have any teeth behind it. It's not going to have any meat on the bone. You're not going to hear Trump trying to get legislation passed. He's in complete control of Congress right now. If he wanted to pass laws to rein the oil companies in and force them to take less profit or even give money back, he has more power to do that right now than anyone in history. And I'll tell you why. Not only is he in control of a completely submissive Congress and Senate, this is a case where the Democrats wouldn't argue with him. If he pushed a bill that only talked about forcing the oil companies to lower profits and even potentially give some of the money back to consumers, and I'm saying only because don't throw any other fucking pork in there. Don't throw anything in there about the Save America Act or any of the I hate trans, legislation or this. Don't try to sneak anything else through. If he told Congress, I need a bill that demands whatever reason you want to put in there, demands that they reduce the price of fuel during a war and not price gouge, and return some of those profits to consumers, maybe in the form of reduced fuel prices. Okay, let's say, for instance, they're charging you $5 a gallon, or let's say they're charging you $4.50 a gallon when they could easily do it for $4. Well, because you made so much money, we want you to, for a small, short time, charge them $3.75 a gallon. That way you're giving some of the profits back. He could get basically about 90% support in this country if he'd done that. Because the liberals are not going to get in the way of that shit at all. You would get full support on the left, and then of course you would probably get a submissive Congress and Senate allowing it to happen. So this is just lip service what he's saying, because what he is saying, he does have the power to get that done. If he really wanted them to lower oil prices and give a little bit of money back, that's something he actually could do. If you don't see him doing it, then yeah, he was just giving lip service to a problem that we're all dealing with. Talking about hate while he is hating, that was the biggest hater I've ever seen. Well, you're talking about my last caller, Farmer Floyd, says my last caller was talking about hate while actually in the process of hating, and he's saying that was the biggest hater I've ever seen. I guess I'd have to ask that you elaborate. Tell me how the last caller was hating. I would love for you to elaborate on that. Democrats were raised by mama. That's why they want a female leader, says Aaron M. I don't know if all Democrats want a female leader. In fact, I do believe that part of that 77 million votes that went to Trump is left-leaning individuals that do not favor having a woman at the helm. So, and I don't think it was all Democrats. I don't think it was all Republicans or conservatives. I do believe, certainly in the immigrant community, certainly in the devout religious evangelical community, some of them are Democrats. And religion, a lot of religions do teach you about the hierarchy: God, man, woman, child. Folks who believe that are going to probably not be in favor of putting a woman at the helm. So I don't think it's all Republicans. I think some folks, if that's what you're voting for, that may have something to do with it. Let me go back to the box. We'll go to Jen. What did I say? Jen Man. Good evening. Welcome to the program, Jen. Guess what country elected the first female president? Iceland. Well, on the world stage, I mean, what does Iceland really amount to? And We the Rebel says, bullshit. Dems want gas prices high to disincentivize carbon emissions. Now, then hold them accountable for it. Trump is really good at holding rallies and pointing fingers and naming names. So have him present the legislation that I just stated, and he could easily point out the Democrats that are against it. They could talk about carbon emissions and all that shit. I don't think it would fly very well. Jan, good evening. Jan, are you there? Okay, I see her up in the box, but apparently she's not there. We'll move on with the program. We'll go to Twisted, one of my subscribers. Good evening, Twisted. Welcome to the program. Popular vote never matters, y'all. Mad the majority of Americans voted for Trump. Well, Trump won the popular vote.
What country elected the first?
You got an echo.
Yeah, hey.
Good evening.
Evening, man.
Hey, so what if Kamala Harris had won? We talk about Kamala, you know I hold up her photo all the time. I got a few choice words of her as a candidate. But what do you think we'd be dealing with had she been victorious?
Well, you are always saying she is a bad candidate.
Was.
And that's wrong.
Was.
No.
Hold on, let me say, you may like this. When I say Kamala Harris was a bad candidate, I mean she was a bad candidate in 2024. Certainly said she wouldn't do nothing different than Biden. Unfortunately, only having 107 days to run, not going on a lot of the pod bros like Rogan type programs. But I'm saying was because if she ran again, I'm going to assume she is savvy enough to surround herself with better advisors and not make the same mistakes. And she would get the traditional amount of time that a presidential candidate gets. So she would probably be considerably more refined if she ran again. But go ahead.
So she would be really perfect in everything. We wouldn't be in these wars. There would be no you know, hate speech, and people wouldn't be trying to, you know, be racial as everything is though.
But what about you said you started up by saying she would, and I'm going to focus on that. What about the fact that she is indeed a woman? Is that not a strike in itself? No matter what her resume says, what she plans to do, what her agenda is, at the end of the day, we're talking about a she. And before you answer that question, to my YouTube viewers, I need you to smash that like button. It helps out the algorithm, doesn't cost you anything, and it helps bring in more folks to the program, particularly MAGA. So if you're watching me on YouTube, I'm asking that you tap the like button. So she's a woman. She's a woman. Talk to me.
Okay, so she would be perfect.
Perfect.
I think that would. Yes, perfect.
What? Why are you giving her such high accolades? If she's perfect, why the hell didn't she even make it through the primary when she ran on her own?
Referring to what exactly?
She ran for president before Biden won and appointed her VP. She ran on her own and did very poor. She didn't even, I don't think she even made it past Iowa. She didn't do very well.
Jim, the thing that we have to understand is this country, this nation is not ready for a woman president. That's the thing. That is the issue. And also that Kamala Harris would not start these stupid, idiotic wars that we are in. Maybe out of maybe like one war, but that is about it though. But she would find a way to get us as a nation out of this war that we are in.
So it sounds kind of like you agree with one of my viewers, a handsome conservative on Clapper says, yet the Democrats keep running a woman to be president and continue to lose, wonder why. So you're also saying America's not ready for women. So you're kind of admitting that if Kamala Harris tries to run, AOC tries to run, the Democrats are toast. Am I hearing that correctly?
No, I would say they wouldn't be toast, but it would just be very difficult for them to try to get into the office though. And this nation has been built on so much of, you know, having so much man in power though. And that is the issue. This nation it's just not geared or ready to have a female president. And also adding on to what Mike was like saying, I give him all respect though. Trump is a hateful person. Trump is an evil man on two legs.
You absolutely got to elaborate on it. First of all, what the hell makes you say Trump is hateful? And then I need to also know where we conclude by saying Trump is hateful and evil? Folks are going to point out all sorts of things that Trump has done, even for the black community. Hateful and evil?
Yes. This man will sit up there and disrespect all types of women. It don't matter what their race is, what their size, whatever. He will disrespect women regardless. Even if they're just trying to have a normal talk or get info or know what the heck is going on out here in this shitty ass economy.
Well, the belief is that he's talking to women that work for networks that are deliberately trying to defame him as well. And he's just fed up. He believes he's trying to do what's best for America. As the hat says, he's trying to make America great. And these networks are just trashing
America is not great. There's nothing great about America right now. There's nothing that is great. Now, you get people like handsome, you get people like handsome conservative who is not, I don't think he's really a Christian person because I think he's.
Why y'all keep fucking with the man's religion? Conservative. Why y'all fucking with the man swears up and down he truly is a believer. Why y'all keep going after Hanson conservative religion?
I don't think so. I don't think so because he's reading from his own written man-made Bible. He's not actually. He is not actually quoting scripture though, and I hated that yesterday that Miss Mo Betta got she got you popped though yesterday for talking now, and then here he comes in.
Yeah, well you got Hanson conservative on here now. Hanson conservative. You've been called up. Do you have anything to say in regards to what you've heard?
All right, first of all, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right. This is the typical thing that Democrats do, is attack somebody on their faith. That's the second time. That's a typical Democrat bullshit thing that they do. Second of all, as far as Miss Mo Better goes, I made a mistake yesterday. I thought it was Miss Mo Better that I was talking to.
Yeah, it was Takesha. It was Takesha.
Like a man,
yeah, it was Takesha.
I apologize for that. I was in the wrong. But as for this little shit that you got up here now, he needs to realize that you don't want to take me on, all right? I got unlimited flags. I will fuck you up.
Now, when he say unlimited flags,
I will lay the cross down.
When he say unlimited flags for you folks on TikTok, on Clapper, if you submit a flag, you come up. It's the same thing as a galaxy. So he's talking about unlimited flags, but he doesn't like you questioning his religion there, Twisted. He's saying that, and Takesha's pretty religious. I'm surprised she said that, but go ahead, Twisted.
Yeah, I'm not trying to downsize his religion or like anything, but it just sounds very man-made, and it's not actually what he's coming. It is a cross, because there's been some shows that I've been watching and I've been looking, and some of the stuff that he is actually saying.
Give us some examples. What has he said? What has he said on this show or anywhere else you may have heard him? What has he stated that has made you question whether or not he's a Christian or his religion?
He says that there was one where he was referring to where God has more, or like he was saying that, yeah, that man has more power over women and all this other type of something about, and then he was talking to Stick like about we are supposed to be better than women and all this other type of stuff, and I'm like, where is he? Like, where is he getting this stuff though? Or like from now?
Okay, let's.
Is that actual like scripture, or are you just making stuff up?
Well, let's have him answer that. Now, you heard what he said. Do you believe men are better than women?
I heard what he said, and I'm about to answer. First of all, that's not what I said at all. He got that all wrong. Okay. Second of all, what he's talking about, what I was talking about to Stick at the time, was what you were just talking about the biblical hierarchy.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about.
Do you believe in that? Do you subscribe to that?
I was not saying it from a hateful point of view. I was not putting down women. I was coming from a Christian biblical, the way it's listed in the Bible. That's what I was saying. But I would suggest this. To be fair and not to be too mean about it. Check out my channel before you question my whether I'm a Christian or not. I'm not saying subscribe or follow. I'm saying just take a look at my page. Just do that much. Do that much before you call me a racist or a white supremacist, or you call me not a Christian. Check out 3 videos from my page. Just 3 videos. That's all I ask.
Do you
and
now?
If you still think that, we can have a talk.
Do you subscribe to that theory I mentioned? Man, woman, God, man, woman, child. Is that something you actually subscribe to?
I do, but I believe that most people misunderstand that scripture. Most people are using it the wrong way. It's not that, in the biblical sense, a man has a job to do, a woman has a job to do, and God has a job to do. Okay? It's not one job is better than the other, one person is more important than the other. It's nothing like that. It has nothing to do with being better or more important. It has to do with what I'm supposed to do as a man, what my wife is supposed to do as my wife, and what God does in our marriage to keep us together.
Okay.
That's what it has to do with. It is not, I want to say this one more time, it is not to put one above the other. It is not that one is more important than the other.
Twisted.
Okay. Well, I never said nothing racial about you. Okay, I never said you're a Klansman and all this other type of good stuff.
So you're not a Klansman.
So all I said was that, and let this be crystal clear. I said some of the stuff that you are that you are trying to reference to, it sounds like it's not actually coming from the Bible. It sounds like it is coming from a man-made myth of where you are coming from. That's all that I am simply trying to say. Now, to hear you out on certain things it is supposed to be man, women, and God, and all that and the other stuff. It is actually supposed to be God, the Holy Spirit, Jesus Christ, and then the archangels. So,
all right, I got 2 more minutes before you respond, conservative. Would you be okay with a woman in the Oval Office? Would you have any problem with a woman being president?
I have every problem in the world with a woman being president. A woman is not supposed to lead. That is biblical. That is not Christian nationalism. That's straight out of the Bible. That is biblical. And what he's talking about, for the record, is Christian nationalism. I am not a Christian nationalist. I am a Christian. What I say comes directly out of the Bible. I would suggest that he cracks one open and does a little studying. Then he would know where I'm coming from.
Wow. So you would never vote for a woman because you believe a woman is not supposed to lead. Wow. Okay.
That is correct. And I also believe that is why the Democrats lost twice.
Well, in hearing you say that, it definitely makes one thing clear. There's a whole bunch of people, if the Democrats put a woman out there, you're not going to be to reach across the aisle to these people. They're closed-minded on a woman being in there. You kind of admitting that. So, yeah, it is going to be difficult. I got to move it on from you gentlemen, but I did learn something from you now, handsome conservative. Twisted, did that clear things up? Do you see him as a different guy now?
I'll give him a little bit. I'll give him a little bit respect, but that's about it.
All right, gentlemen. Thanks for coming through, Twisted. All right, appreciate it. Real quick, go ahead, conservative.
Yeah. I just wanted to, before I go, I just wanted to say, and I know this is your show and everything, but you really need to do a video and put it on Clapper to bring in more supporters. Like, I just subscribed to your $10 a month thing that you have over here. But if you make a video for Clapper, you could probably get some more subscribers over here, and that would help your income and your channel out.
I'll do it tonight because I do want to ultimately start moving things away from TikTok because of the censorship. And by the way, if anybody uses Twitch, I created the Handsome Liberal, same name on all the platforms. I do have a Twitch account now. You can go live on Twitch. That will be starting up soon. I checked it out. It looks like it's pretty easy to do. So Twitch is another place. But Handsome Conservative, thank you for the sub. Thank you for the advice. Thank you for the support. Appreciate you coming in.
No problem.
Anytime. All right, moving on with the program. And that's good advice. Thank you. Killing everyone in Iran, says Nate. What do you mean? Did you hear Martha Reeves' version of the national anthem this weekend? That's what I haven't heard that. What do you mean, Martha Reeves' version? I have not heard that. In the comments, tap the screen, by the way. Help your boy out with the hat, mustache, TikTok, cap, goals. A few of you guys out here. I do have it on sub because we do want to talk to more MAGA today. So I deliberately just put it on sub only because I know I have very few of those anyway. That would be one way of being able to address more MAGA. Anyone who tells gullible people what they want to hear will get their votes. There's some validity to that. Horrifying, that's funny. Just misgender Democrat and see how cowardly they become. To me, this, listen, one of the things on the right often says is that the Democrats throw around the word racism so often it's losing its value. I'm going to tell you the same applies with socialism, communism, and this Democrats don't know what a woman is shit. Most Democrats, that does not properly categorize most Democrats, such as myself. I damn sure know what a woman is. So I really believe that the right, when you don't want to be stereotyped as all being racist, because all folks on the right are not all racist, if you don't want to be stereotyped, you need to stop stereotyping. Because all Democrats do not subscribe to that. I don't know what a woman is, or a man should be able to play in girls' sports. All Democrats don't believe in that. In fact, I don't even think the majority of Democrats believe in that. I think it's more Democrats that don't believe in that. So you're stereotyping, but then bitching about getting stereotyped. Orange man bad, y'all just hate him. You got Trump derangement syndrome. Well, it sounds like you may have trans derangement syndrome. Tap the screen, get the likes on up to 50,000, if you will. Smash that like button if you're watching on YouTube. By the way, we do have a poll ongoing. That poll being, would Kamala Harris have been a better president? Would Kamala Harris have been a better president? We have a poll on YouTube. Nearly 300 respondents so far. I'll give you the results of that. But before I do, We the Rebel says, if you don't apply your beliefs the way I want, you're not a Christian. Simple-minded and incapable of holding viewpoints other than your own. That is very religious-like. That ain't just Christianity that does that, though, We the Rebel. Most religions are like that. If you don't, if you don't view things the same way they do, something's wrong with you. If you entertain a different type of God, your God is a false God. That's one of the main reasons why I'm no fan of putting religion in schools, is it starts making the children judge each other. Because right now they're trying to promote Christianity in schools, and they want to put the 10 Commandments on the wall and have students reading out of the Bible and all of this other. Okay, what does that say to the other students? The Jehovah's Witnesses, the Muslims, the folks who partake in other religions. What are you telling them? Their religion ain't shit? Well, it's America was a Christian country, or the Bible is history. That's why we're reading out of it, as if the Quran has no history to it at all. This is what could lead one child that may be a Christian to tell a Muslim, or I mentioned a Jehovah's Witness, or a child of a Buddhist, whatever, tell another child, see, my mom said your religion is fake, and you notice in school, we only talking about Christianity. The shit you guys follow ain't even real. You don't see your religion on the wall. We got the 10 Commandments up. So I just don't favor the division among students that putting religion in schools can cause if you're only doing it for one religion. You hear folks always talking about we don't want Sharia law and all this other shit, but you do want to promote Christianity on people. So it's one of those deals where I don't want things shoved down the throats of my child, but I'm happy to do it to your child if it's something I believe in. Go figure. I'm definitely cooking white cowards with no facts. What is that? God, they used to be gay, now they're trans. Even gays don't believe that trans bullshit. I don't know, but like I said, most people do know what a woman is. So that was a question. To me, saying that Democrats do not know what a woman is akin to saying the Republicans don't know what an election winner is. The Republicans are doing the exact same thing the Democrats did. They're trying to curry favor with a certain crowd by not answering a question when they clearly know what the answer is. The Democrats that were asked that question, like, what was her name? The judge, was it Ketanji Brown Jackson or whatever her name was, a Supreme Court judge. She clearly know what a fucking woman is because she's one. But she's trying to curry favor with the LGBTQ community, particularly the trans community, by hesitating to answer that question. The same thing Trump supporters are doing when they're asked who won the 2020 election. They clearly know who won the fucking election, but they're trying to curry favor with President Trump by not answering the question. It's literally the same thing. It's literally the exact same thing. They know who won that election, but they're trying to prevent from saying it because they know it'll piss off Trump the same way some Democrats thought it would piss off the trans community. In the comments, my God is real, not yours, Tobias. See, this is the kind of shit I don't want kids doing. Let me go back to the box and tap the screen, get the likes on up to 50,000. We'll take the next call at 50,000. Got enough of you guys in here to do that. I'll read a couple comments. Popular or not, there is only one way. But the way depends on who you ask. Everybody believes their way is the proper way. The Muslims believe their way through Allah is the proper way. You believe your way may be through Jesus Christ. There are some Christians who don't believe in the existence of Jesus. They just go to God. Gets to be complicated. In the comment. And I also believe if we can tell juveniles you shouldn't be able to have gender reassigning surgery or take any type of hormone or estrogen therapy or any of this shit, or read up on trans, because you should wait till you're an adult before making a complicated decision like that. Why the hell doesn't that apply to religion? Why don't we tell children that as well when it comes to religion? We're going to let you reach the age of maturity before deciding what God you're going to worship. Why are we shoving that? And that's the American way, by the way, shoving religion on kids, because most folks become religious when they're when they're nowhere near being an adult. I mean, I know as a child, I was dragged to church from as far back as I can remember. Just go to any church and look around at the kids that are there that are 12 years old and under. Do they look like they really want to be in that motherfucker? Most churches you go to, go look at the young kids that are there. Do they really look like they want to be there? It's being shoved down their throats. So if we can say the same about the trans, where it shouldn't be shoved down their throats and they should have to wait till they reach the age of maturity to make that decision for themselves, why don't religion play that way? Are we really going to send a kid to hell because he hasn't taken on God yet? Do they really send juveniles to hell for that? I don't know. I'm going to go back to the comment section. Tap the screen, get us up to 50,000. We'll take the next caller because they are the ones who do it here, Frosty. Okay, you guys are responding to each other. In the comments, you have to register to vote and show your ID and social security number. Okay, I don't see any problem with requiring an ID to vote. I just don't like the way Trump is trying to do it so quickly before. Folks, we got less than 100 days. We're around 90 days into the midterms now. There is no way in hell I'm going to support passing something that is all-encompassing like the Save America Act this close. It's just, at this point, if we can tell Obama it's too close to pick a Supreme Court justice, he's only one man. We can absolutely tell the country with tens of millions of people, it's too close for the Save America Act at this point. I do believe going forward, maybe in 2028 starting, you should have to present an ID. I don't think any state should let you vote without an ID. But start that shit in 2028. It's too close at this point. to do something that is all encompassing like that. Tim likes comparing apples to oranges. No, that's your opinion of what is an apple versus an orange. I mean, some would suggest comparing Trump to Biden all the time may be an apple and orange, depending on who you ask. That's your opinion. Because church and becoming trans are two different things. You're shoving shit down people's throats that they don't want shoved down their throats. I don't give a fuck if it's church and flying an aircraft. If the person doesn't want to learn how to fly a plane, don't force them to do it. Well, but it ain't church, it's just flying a plane. They don't want to do it, don't force it down their kid's throat. Period. I don't care if it's two different things. Quit making excuses for the bullshit. You see stuff in Spain, 20,000 Morocco. Yeah, we talked about the immigration rush from Morocco to Spain, and the whole Republican suggestion that if Biden and Kamala Harris is president still, that would have happened here. I don't buy that. Look, at the end of the day, I understand fear mongering and picking extreme examples. That's what politics is about. We're going to pick literally the worst example on the planet of an immigration crisis and say that's what would have happened if Biden or Kamala Harris had won. We've never had anything like that here. So I don't believe it would have happened. I don't believe you would have had tons of people just pouring over the border like a tsunami if Kamala Harris was in office. I don't buy it. But that's kind of how fear mongering is done. Let me go back to the box. Help your boy out with the hat mustache. TikTok cap goals, if you will. I will go to, I think it says X. Did even X Tina, somebody says. I think people need to review their history and compare what's going on today. They may deny it in one way or another, though, DOA. Get these children of immigrants out of the country blacks built. So we've had almost 2 years of constant mass deportations. Is things really getting better in this country? They were taking our jobs. They were raping and murdering everybody. They were causing a housing crisis. Is any of those areas getting better? Now that all these immigrants are getting deported, are the jobs really blowing up like that? I mean, is the housing market getting that much better? Is the crime rate dropping? I mean, now that Trump has gotten rid of tons of them and the ones that are here are afraid to really even navigate around, are you seeing significant improvements in the areas of this country that Trump and MAGA were blaming them for? They're committing tons of crimes. They're taking American jobs. They're fucking up the housing market. Have you seen any real benefits in those areas? Have you seen any significant movement? Because that's what we were told. So maybe people lie and use other people's socials. Are you that naive, or do you expect us to believe bullshit sassy? Well, look, you guys can keep chasing phantoms when it comes to the elections. Here's my point. There will never be a foolproof method of running an election. In my opinion, if you really wanted to make the best effort, you would use a fingerprint and facial recognition scanner. That's probably the most advanced method of guaranteeing that the person voting is that person. There are people who commit murders, and the police will take the phone from the suspect, and if that phone is locked, they can't get in there to find out anything about the suspect or the deceased in some cases. They oftentimes have to send it to Quantico to see if they can tap into it. So computers are pretty savvy in preventing the wrong people from doing shit. Are they 100% hack proof? No, but they're a lot better than Aunt Betsy sitting down at the polling place looking at an ID and looking at your face and trying to verify if that's you. It's a lot more secure than that. So I believe if you really wanted to make elections as secure as you could be, facial recognition and fingerprint scanner. You go there to the polls, you put your thumb on a piece of glass, it detects your fingerprint, it looks at you in the face and goes with that. That's probably the most secure we would get in terms of trying to secure an election. This shit that Trump is doing, that's, just showing an ID. There's a lot of folks that can navigate a fake ID. That ain't saying shit. Let me go back to Brugger's in the comments. I'm having a hard time bringing up guests. We'll try it again. Being black is definitely a blessing, says horrifying. A blessing in what area of life? I'd like to know.
Okay, I'm on. My bad.
You came up by accident?
No, I wanted to be on. I wanted to sell some stuff.
What brought you up? Talk to me.
Well, first of all, I'm considered mega, but not super mega no more because I don't support him like I used to.
So you were? Did you vote for Trump? Did you vote for Trump? Wait, hold on. Did you vote for Trump all 3 times?
I voted for him twice.
Which time did you not vote for him?
I did not vote for him the first time.
Who'd you vote for? Hillary?
No, I'm sorry. I did not vote at all the first time.
Okay. So you voted for him. You voted for him over Biden, and you voted for him over Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the reason I think he's better than Kamala when it comes to, now this is my opinion, of course. I think when Russia was lining up on the border with Ukraine, that I think if he remained president, they wouldn't have went across.
Why do you think that? Why do you believe that?
Because Trump don't mess around.
Yeah, but he's the guy who promised that he could end the war in 24 hours. That's been a dismal failure.
That is true. Yeah, it's absolutely true. And I'm so fed up with him backing down all the time. It's driving me crazy.
Yeah, when you say he don't mess around, I look at Iran and wonder where you're getting that from, because he's messing around on Iran like crazy.
Well, you are right there. But I'm talking about his first terms. He didn't do that.
Well, he didn't have the power he has now. So you're getting authentic Trump now. You were not getting...
Okay, but listen, you remember when Russia was flying their bombers over Alaska, and then we started flying ours with them? I'm saying he wouldn't back down.
I don't. Okay, you're making it sound like he would stand up to Russia when he's clearly not standing up to Iran. Iran has killed people. Russia hasn't killed anybody. You're giving him credit for standing up to Iran when he's actually killing. You're giving him credit for standing up to Russia when the Iranians are actually killing people and hurting us economically, and he's not standing up to them.
Yeah, I mean, the economy is ridiculous. 3 steaks cost like $65. That's ridiculous.
Wait, say that again.
3 steaks. I mean, I went to the store the other day and there was 3 steaks that cost $65, and that's just absolutely ridiculous.
How happy are you with Trump as a person who voted for him over Kamala Harris? And
I'll say this. It's like the first thing I told you about, Russia war, of course, with Ukraine, and not the Iran thing, of course. Now, I think I like the border. The only thing I don't like is my brother is married to an immigrant. I think she's illegal, honestly. And what happened was he met her, and she's from El Salvador, and he met her, and I said, oh my God, this girl is going to use you. She just wants to marry you, to be with you, so she can stay in the United States. And I tell you right now, she's the sweetest thing ever. She would do anything for him, cooks, and she brought her daughter with her. He loves her, and that's the type of people I do not want to see go back home.
Well,
she's a hard worker. I mean, she worked hard.
So she currently, is she still in the process of trying to get a green card or whatever?
Yes, and here's the thing. She's always getting stuff where she has to go down to the immigration office somewhere, and she has to pay money, in order to stay here. And she's been paying all this money and, to stay here, with her daughter. And she's the sweetest thing ever. She works hard. She don't live off the government is what I'm saying. She does it.
Most of them don't live off the government. That's why they're getting them at Home Depot and shit. But are you concerned when she goes down to pay money and stuff that she may not come back?
That's exactly what I'm concerned about, because I don't know how my brother would handle it, because he really loves her a lot. I mean, I miss her too, of course, because I know how she is.
Did your brother vote for Trump?
No, I don't know. He said he did, but I really don't know.
There's no way. Nobody lies about voting for Trump. You either you don't lie about voting for Trump. You either did that shit or you didn't. Ain't nobody lying about that.
Right. But I want to get on another subject.
Sure.
I hope it don't get you in trouble. It shouldn't get you in trouble or nothing.
Talk to me.
Because I just want. Can I say something about the e-files?
Yeah. Let me hear what you
Okay.
got.
Well, I truly believe he's on them.
You truly believe what?
I truly believe Trump is on them e-files.
Okay, he may be in the e-files because he was a friend of Epstein, but let me ask you: do you believe that he?
No, I really
do you believe
no,
he? Do you believe he violated the innocence of a child?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yes, because and that's the reason I fall back away from him. Now, here's the thing: I would still vote for him again, and you know why I would do that? Because listen to the reason I would vote for him again. I think he was a better choice. If there was a better choice out there, I would have.
What the hell is Kamala? Hey, listen, I don't blackmail or censor, so you can certainly answer this question with any way you want. But what the hell do you think Kamala Harris would have done that you believe a pedophile is a better option?
No, but what I'm saying is this was before I found this out. As far as the kids' wise,
what if you went back? What if you know? Okay, what if you could go back in time to November 2024 with the current knowledge you have now? You're at the polls. What do?
I'm not voting for him.
Okay.
I mean, I would have to vote for him if we were in a situation where I think we might go to war, of course, because I don't think Kamala can handle that.
You think he's handling it well now?
No, but I'm thinking. But here's the thing. Here's what I think about that war. I think once we got disabled them from getting a nuclear bomb, a capability of doing that, I think that's Israel's war, not ours. We need to get the hell out of there. Yeah. They need to take care of their own shit, over there. But if it's messing up our economy, I understand it is because they're stopping the ships and all that stuff. But if we are making more oil, stop Hazel. We are producing more oil than we ever have and selling to more countries we ever have and getting all this tariff money and all this stuff. I don't understand why our prices are so high. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense.
Well, because the oil companies, as Trump is pointing out, are price gouging us. Here's what you here's where you're confusing me though. You felt confident that the Ukraine-Russian war would not have happened if Trump was president at the time because he would have stood up to the Russians. But you've admitted that he's not standing up to the Iranians properly and that he's at war due to Netanyahu, so he ain't standing up to him either. But you think somehow he would have stood up to Putin. How does that make sense?
I know, but see, I understand what you're saying because I just thought he was stronger then, and it took him a long time for Russia to build up because they was trying to play it off like they were just doing some kind of war games. I think as soon as they started lining their troops up along that, all those equipment up along that border, I think Trump would have woke up and said, you know what, there's something not right. You understand what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying, but why I'm confused is you believe that Russia attacking the Ukraine would have been thwarted. But Iran is attacking everybody on this border under actual Trump presidency and getting away with it. And Iran is not. Nobody has a perception.
I don't like what he's doing with Iran. I really don't. I thought he was going to go in there and get this shit taken care of, and it's being prolonged, and it's going to hurt midterms if he keeps this shit up.
So it's safe to assume that Trump is not measuring up to the projection of strength that you thought he would do in Iran.
Exactly, but I think it's my opinion.
What is so special about
with the Russia situation?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what is so special about Russia that you think a man who can't stand up to Iran or stand up to Netanyahu would somehow become Superman when it comes to Putin. I'm trying to figure out what's the distinction.
I don't, obviously I don't have a crystal ball and say, I know for sure, but I just had that feeling that I think you would have.
It could be right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just simply saying I don't understand what that's based on because you got two countries out there now that has caused Trump to back down, that being Israel and because I think Trump, if he could go back in time right now, he would not have followed Netanyahu into this war. Out of everything about President Trump, whether you love him or you hate him, probably the most damaging thing to his second term in office right now has been this war.
I understand. You're exactly right. Now, let me ask you this. What do you think would have happened if Trump would remain in office and when Israel got attacked, got invaded with that, all the kidnapping and everything happened? What do you think Trump would have did then?
Same thing he did now. He's pretty much gave them all the weapons and intelligence they need and basically told them, go ahead and do whatever you want. He would have backed them the same way.
That's right. And here's the thing I'm wondering. We have sent troops into Israel. You think we would have stayed back and doing what we're doing in Iran?
I think that when Hamas or whatever, when they went into Israel on October 7th or whatever it is, America's stance on that would have been, we back Israel no matter what. I mean, we kind of were doing it under the Biden administration anyway. The Biden administration was doing it too. So they would have let Israel, but I don't think the Biden administration would have followed Netanyahu into a war though, because Netanyahu's a far-right politician. He's a far-right politician. He was not going to jibe with Biden or Kamala Harris as much as Trump does.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm just fed up, man. I mean, it's like, I just don't want this thing to keep prolonged. I have, friends over, in the Navy over there and these ships and stuff. And I'm like, what is going on, man? We're either going to do this thing so we, figure out what's going to happen. And we can't keep going in and backing out, going in and backing out, going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the Congress needs to do its damn job. Allowing Trump to just do whatever he wants is the reason we're in this. If Congress had did their job and at least forced Trump to prove that Tulsi Gabbard was wrong and Iran was further along with their nuclear ambitions than because Tulsi Gabbard's the head of intelligence. Netanyahu is not supposed to be Netanyahu's not supposed to be leading our intelligence. Tulsi Gabbard is. So first, have her go talk to Netanyahu, and you guys get together on this shit, because our agency is not supposed to be saying this country is not developing a nuclear bomb and we go to war anyway. I believe President Trump. Yeah,
exactly.
I believe.
Because,
and I want
they have a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, and I want to say, I believe if we can bring Fauci up to question what he did, we need to bring Trump up and question, where the hell did you get the intelligence? If the head of your agency said they were not developing a bomb and you're going around telling everybody they were, where did that information come from? Because we went to war over that.
Right, and here's the thing. Think about this now. Remember when we went to war with Iraq, and what was we told?
Weapons of mass destruction.
Right, they had it, and they didn't. And what was that about? Oil.
Yeah. And
so what's going on now?
Some would say this is about oil as well. With the way that,
how do we know? That's what I'm saying. We don't know.
Shit, with the profits that's going to the oil companies, how much more do you need to know? I don't think you need to know more than that. You don't even need to look at what's going on in the Middle East. You can look at what Trump did to Venezuela and tell us about oil. Also, keep in mind, Trump has a past history of saying when we attacked Iraq, we should have kept the oil. So that man's been focusing on keeping oil for the longest. Yep. So you would assume that once he goes into an oil-rich area, he's going to take some oil because he's already said it.
That's right, but I truly believe that's what it's about, and that's just wrong because it hurts us. And I mean, think about it. I'm jumping the subject, of course, but think of all the tariff money they got. Think of what they saved, and look at all the money they got from these from people that these fake places. Stealing money or whatever they found, all this corruption. And where'd that money go? What'd they do with that?
Well, based on what you're saying, I'm going to ask you.
Dollars, where'd that go?
Based on what you're saying, I got to ask you this, even as a Trump voter yourself. Do you think our commander-in-chief is corrupt? Because that's what I'm saying. Like I'm hearing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And
he has to be. He has to be. Why would we not give him any money or how we're hurting? I think most people in government are in there. But here's the thing, and corrupt. But here's the thing, on both sides. Yeah. It's just sad that I feel like we're pawns and they're in a chess game.
So he didn't.
That's what I feel like.
So it's safe to assume that he didn't drain the swamp, is what you're telling me.
Exactly. He did. That's why I'm not a big mega fan no more.
Wow.
But that's just how it is. I can't help it. That's how I feel. And I do believe that the e-files, that both parties are on the e-files. They're blackmailing each other. And that's why the people like me or you are never going to find out nothing ever about the true email files. We're never going to find out.
I mean, that's very possible, but I'm thinking like, man, you as a two-time Trump voter yourself, and you
I know, right?
for you to say that
I
you
even have a hat. I even have a hat.
yeah, we got a couple of them. We got a couple of them around here as well. So let me say this then, because this is another hat. This is a Trump was right about everything. Should I throw this one away then?
I don't know, dude. I mean, I wouldn't wear it because of the EPOS. I'm done.
Oh man. Oh.
EPOS has got me killed, dude.
Wow.
So, I mean, I just think it, and here's the thing, because if you think about it, I mean, you know, I think you have to think that when Trump was younger, to me now, he was arrogant. He was real arrogant, and he thought his, crap didn't, stink or whatever.
Well, listen, the guy was born with a golden spoon in his mouth. I can understand that.
Exactly. So
yeah,
I think he's capable of doing what they said he did over there.
Let me ask you let me ask you something else that's somewhat off topic. Now, have you heard about this Olympian that Judge Jeanine Pirro, the U.S. attorney, she's dropped the charges that they had alleged that he had damaged the reflective pool in D.C. Have you heard about this case?
I heard about that.
Now, she dropped the charges against him, and Trump is saying she should have kept going. Do you believe he would be capable of trying to jail a guy that's innocent?
I hope not, man.
How does it look to you?
I'm telling you, that pool thing is just absolutely wild. I mean, you can see how it's peeling up and all that stuff. I mean, he's trying to say that it was sabotage. I really don't know what the heck happened.
Do you believe he is? At least give me this. You voted for him twice. Is he at least a trustworthy president?
Trustworthy president.
Do you have faith in?
Okay. Listen, at this point in the game, no. But he's more trustworthy than other people I would have picked, I feel like. Because you got to think about it. Now, think about this for a second. Remember when they asked Kamala, have you visited the border? And she said she did, but she hadn't. So what I'm saying is she's the same as he would be.
You can't take one line compared to somebody you're admitting has lied a bunch of times. She may have been on course to do that. I'm not saying that you're wrong.
Right.
She may have done it, but you're taking somebody you know that has told a bunch of lies to the point where you view him as untrustworthy. And you're saying this person who told one lie is going to likely spawn into that.
I see what you're saying. You're saying trustworthy as in a lot of lies.
When Trump says something, do you generally believe him? You mentioned the Iraq war going back and forth.
Well,
do you generally believe when he says the strait is open or they're begging for a ceasefire, do you generally believe the information he's giving you?
Oh, no. Well, no.
Freudian slip?
No, you got me there. It's like 50-50 for me because I don't know.
That's bad.
Because he always says shit and sometimes it's not true.
I gotta move it on. I'll leave it there. I appreciate your candor. Is this your first time coming? Is this your first time coming through?
Yeah, it's the first time.
Good. Don't be a stranger. Come on back anytime, man. I appreciate it.
All right,
we're gonna make you MAGA once and for all. We're gonna get you back.
Maybe, I doubt it.
Hey, let me know when it's in the hat. I gotta go. All right. Tap the screen, folks. Get us up to 60,000. How you don't know, but you know Trump be like, real talk. That's almost a riddle. Tap the screen, folks. In regards to that poll on YouTube, continuing on. And by the way, help you borrow the hat and mustache TikTok cap goes. No love today at all on TikTok. And I seen your comment, handsome conservative, in regards to you set up a Twitch account and cannot find the page. I'll have to, because it's all one word. Maybe because I tried to spread it out, just like on Clapper, the handsome liberal is all one word. I think it's all lowercase. So, but we are on Twitch. I'll make sure I get it specified so I can guide you right to it. I'll get a link or whatever. When will everyone understand that neither party gives a shit about any of us, and we need to start electing people that put the U.S. citizens first? We thought we were doing that with Trump, Matt. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, even if we do what you're suggesting, it's going to start out by trusting a candidate. You're going to have a candidate that's promising to do what you stated, and we have to trust that when they get in there, they will follow through. Trump promised exactly what you're saying. is that he's the one that ran on what you say. You're saying neither party gives a shit about any of us, and we all need to start electing people that put U.S. citizens first. That's what he said. The system is rigged. I know because I've donated money to both sides. He stated what you're talking about. We're going to put America first. We're going to stop sending money overseas. We're going to get out of all of these wars. And that's what he ran on. So at the beginning of the conversation, you got to understand that you got to get a candidate that is trustworthy, because they're all going to promise what you're asking for. And what you're asking for is legit. But if somebody promises it, like Trump did, and then he gets in there and in many cases does just the opposite, then we're kind of back at square one. In the comments here real quick, Matt, but Obama gave $40 million. Obama gave 40 million Americans health care. Well, a lot of folks don't like Obamacare, so go figure on that. Republicans don't create jobs and Dems do. I think there is more of that on the Democrat side. I just think that the Republican Party generally legislates that is more favorable to the upper class, and the Democrats operate more favorable to folks that are at the bottom. I do believe that if that means creating jobs, so be it. But I do believe that the Democrats, their legislation is more favorable to the bottom, because trickle-down economics is something of the right, and that basically is saying we want to give to the upper class first, and then they will, of course, let it trickle down to the lower class. But that does mean you're going to give to the top first. When you let your local governor and senator, you got to make sure he's for the state 100% and definitely ain't willing to compromise on certain things. That's the only way to do it. Look, I'll tell you this right off the bat before we take the next caller. And help people out with the hat and mustache, TikTok cap goes. Show the program some love there. I'll tell you right off the bat, we can criticize and attack the Democrats for whatever you want to go with. They don't know what a woman is. You know, Sleepy Joe Biden, they didn't tell you he was failing cognitively or whatever. But the fact that we have a Republican Congress in office right now that is essentially doing nothing is inexcusable. If you want to point to something awful on the left, we can have a conversation about that. But we know for certain the people on the right are doing absolutely nothing right now. I don't think this Congress is, other than what, maybe the Lincoln-Riley Act, they've done nothing. And that is at the behest of Speaker of the House Jones, Mike Jones, or whatever his name is. He's pretty much sending people on vacation and shit. Or Johnson, not Jones, Johnson. So at this point, no matter how much you want to bash the left, it's pretty clear when it comes to the House and Senate, the right is not the answer. That's not to say future Republicans in Congress, future Republicans in the Senate may not be patriots of this nation, but the ones that are in there now are pretty much just kowtowing to Trump. That's not doing your job. They're just letting Trump do whatever. And as you are seeing from some of my callers and viewers that voted for Trump, they don't believe he alone is doing a good job. If you could have them step up and do their jobs, where he may be rough around the edges and not let him, he may have some good policies and some of the other shit may be crazy. So if they would actually do their jobs, they could let the decent stuff get through that most of their constituents want and shave off the crazy shit. But because they're doing nothing, the crazy shit is getting through. So say what you want about the Democrats. This version of what we have in the House and Senate of Republicans are utterly useless. They need to go first. They need to go first. All of them need to be primaried at least by another Republican, because to sit back and just let the president do whatever to the point where we're now at war because of this, that's a problem. I mean, where you're now your tax money is going to pay for all kinds of stuff with his name on it. They're not saying anything about that. While we're suffering economically, he's using your tax dollars to, while you're suffering, he's using some of your tax money to put his name all over DC and shit like that. Even if you like him, you got to admit that doesn't sound right. Anyway, look it in the comments. Why do we have bigger in here? I don't get what you mean by that, Climate. But I do appreciate some of you folks that are coming over to Clapper as well, because you can request up live on Clapper too. Wanting to see people suffer is not natural, says Horrifying. Well, I disagree with that. Depends on what you want to see them suffer for. I think anybody that abuses children is going to have a whole lot of people on all sides of the aisle hoping that when they get locked up, they suffer. There's a lot of people wishing people suffer is actually quite normal depending on why you want them to suffer. Now, getting rid of USAID and championing, no, you shouldn't want people to suffer for that case. But there are reasons. Let me go back to the box. Clapper makes people feel they can talk forever, says Real Talk. No, then I would have to drop them if they do that. By the way, smash that like button if you're watching on YouTube or TikTok. Going to the box. Here comes Smarty Pants Censored. What are you saying there, Dippity Do? MAGAs not only have TDS, they also got PPS. Pedophile Protection Syndrome. Jesus. We were 18 voting for skin color, not policies. Obama should have never won, but we were young and stupid. I don't know. Do you think the country would have been better off if Mitt Romney and McCain served? I don't know. I mean, going back to that era, certainly when it comes to comparing him to Trump, I don't think John McCain or Mitt Romney would have been anywhere near as far. John McCain was a war hawk, so it's possible under John McCain. Mitt Romney was in favor of universal health care. So by the time Mitt Romney was finishing up his term, a lot of you hard-right folks may not even have liked him. Smokey, good evening.
Good evening. Hope you're doing well, sir.
Very well. Good to have you on as always. We're talking about the note. Well, let me ask you. I want to ask you the question I played earlier. You might be just the person to ask this. Now, I want to make sure I cue it up at the right spot because, as you know, in the Democrat circles, socialism is taking hold. I want to ask you to hear this clip, and I want you, if you got a aspiring voter that's promoting socialism in a capitalist country, how do you talk to them? I want you to listen to this example, and we're going to talk about this.
And that's where we are.
You have 2 or 3 self-identified Democrats are not afraid of the word socialist. What do you think that means?
I think people are seeing that capitalism is not working for them, that this unchecked, unfettered, big businesses, the oil companies getting richer during a war, like they see that. They see it over and over and over again. People my age, I'm about to turn 43. My whole adult life has been this, just less and less, the wages just basically the same and cost of everything going up. Everybody sees it. Everybody's hurting. My generation now, we're about to send our kids to college. How? Have you looked at what college costs now? How are we going to do this?
How do you respond to somebody that's promoting socialists in a capitalist country that makes those type of claims, or those are their concerns? Those aren't claims; they're legitimate concerns. How do you respond to them? Because you got folks that are echoing her sentiment that are talking socialist, but we're a capitalist country. If you want to save capitalism, what do you say to someone like that?
Uneducated and emotional with no understanding of the system. Because unchecked capitalism isn't capitalism. So she disqualified what she was complaining about with her statement.
So what do you
capitalism has to be, capitalism in its purest form has got ethics, which is called socialism.
Wait, you said capitalism in its purest form is called what?
It's got ethics.
Never heard of that.
Capitalism without ethics isn't capitalism, it's cronyism.
Yeah, I believe that.
So she doesn't know what capitalism is. Capitalism, to think that one system, capitalism, Marxism, communism, socialism, any of these isms work is asinine. Because it's a system, and systems have to work together. Yeah. And so you can take a good part from here, a good part from there, which is called honorable capitalism. It's just we don't operate under that. So we don't operate under capitalism currently. We just call it capitalism, but it's not.
So what would you refer to as the system that America, United States, you always correct me on this. What would you refer to as the system that the United States is currently operating under?
Oligarchy, cronyism, corporatization, where corporations have got more rights than the citizen, because you incorporate, you get rights as a person, you can donate as the people, and you can vote in Delaware. But if you're a citizen, you have to ask for permissions and then clarify and verify your citizenship and ID to be able to vote. But corporations can bypass that.
I'm assuming you believe that's something that needs to be rectified.
Yeah. I hijack republicanism, constitution, small government, fiscal responsibility. Where's our money? Why do we have so much debt? The 16th Amendment, allowing them to misappropriate funding, not based upon census. So they had to amend the Constitution, which the Supreme Court said you can't add these taxes and appropriate the way you want. So they said screw it and passed the 16th Amendment, followed by the 17th. So since 1913 onwards, they've been running rampant because we can't keep them under check with Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7, asking for the receipts of all public expenditures. And they tell us they want a budget increase, but we never ask to see the balanced books.
Now you're obviously not only going over my head, but probably most of the viewers' head. How do we correct this? Let's get down to the nitty gritty. I mean, can any candidate in modern time run for office and win successfully by talking about correcting this stuff? Because it will be easy to spin this in a manner that suggests that they're trying to change the country fundamentally, because so many people, including myself, does not know all the intricate details of some of the shit you just mentioned. So anybody that's trying to change this system so that crony capitalism does not continue destroying us, they're going to be called a socialist or a communist, which is kind of what's happening now. How do you run in, big, beautiful bill, something simple that people can understand? How do you make this sound simple?
Constitution 101. Where's our money? Small government, fiscal responsibility, Constitution.
I like that.
You want your brothel towns or dry towns? Small government. Fiscal responsibility. Are we collecting your taxes and appropriating it correctly? No. My job isn't to change. My job is to be the delegator in chief if you're going to be president. If you're trying to change anything, your job is to enforce it, is to uphold it, is to delegate. You can't write a law. You can pardon people. Yeah. But there's no power in the presidency other than to enforce the law, which is, hey, Congress, this act. And that's kind of in the Constitution. If you want to go to war and incursion, do it yourselves, and I'll sign off on it. But fuck you, I'm not making this decision.
Well, I like your simplified original statement, because I mentioned big, beautiful bill. Trump always says things that are really wrapped up in one or two words that people can really easily understand. You said, "Where is our money?" That would resonate. That would resonate. Where's our money? I like that. That's actually pretty damn good. Where's our money? Just like there was a candidate who's now passed on who ran under the rent is too damn high. I mean, that's something people can easily understand. Where is our money? You can't beat that. You really can't beat that. But you got to be able to explain it.
Chris Rock, he ran for president? That ain't right. That's what you're running on. And you need Bernie Sanders as the VP, like out there slapping people. That ain't right.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then you had Brewster's Millions, none of the above. Don't vote for me, but just ask better questions.
Yeah, because you gotta. A lot of folks are not as savvy on this shit. Like I said, even though I talk politics every day, I'm no genius. A lot of shit you're saying even going above my head, and it's like you gotta really give this stuff to people in digestible bites. And where's our money at? Is something we can chant at a rally or at a gathering. Everybody can understand that. Where the hell are you spending our money? I mean, like Trump with the tariffs, for instance. Trump with the Doge cuts. Where's our money? I mean, you're bragging about all this shit. Where's our money at?
It says all expenses and expenses and all public receipts. I want the receipt if they went out to dinner to see what the fuck they were ordering. If they're writing that off, what were they doing? Was it 50 people? Was there an autograph? Did they tip on top of it? Are they being fiscally responsible? This is consulting 101. Where's our money?
Wow.
You can't ask me for another penny until you balance those books, because my share in the United States is negative $80,000-$90,000. I have to pay a daily cash call of sales tax and an end of the year cash call, and we keep hiring the same management. We'd never do this for Apple or any corporation. We'd fire those people so fast, and our vote is a shareholder derivative meeting. We're shareholders in a corporation, essentially, and we're hiring management who are robbing from us daily, not managing the funds, not getting us out of debt, and our shares worth less, and we call them heroes. Let's remove all these 535 idiots. That's me.
Well, you can't remove the entire congressional body at once, though. I mean,
you can. If they shut themselves down, we don't need them. States operate independently, so we can actually go in there, have military go in, restructure it, and run a new election and hire people. They voluntarily shut themselves down. What do you mean we can't operate without them?
Well, shit, you sound like the woman on the screen I got here that was she's the co-chair of the DSA, not in this video, but in the more controversial one. She did talk about taking down government entities. I mean, so she would be just the person to agree with you in getting rid of Congress, because she did say something like that.
Yeah. Why can't we hire 535 people out of 340 million people who know 7 articles?
Do you really want a complete virgin Congress all at once?
Yes. Yes, because none of these people have ever given you your rights as a person since 1868. They've told you have to pay them to be less than a person and a corporation, and you've got to ask for permissions based upon the color that they gave you.
That sounds like
F them.
That sounds like some kind of Muslim fantasy. So you want 500 and some odd virgins all at once? I don't know. I understand the replacement of Congress.
We have 48 attorneys out of 100 senators. Would you hire 48 quarterbacks on a team and expect it to be good? Or would you actually just hire some new people? You'd make them rerun for the position. If you rehire them, great, they were qualified. But now you're actually running them correctly. You're making them do the sprints. You're seeing if they can throw the ball. You're asking, do they know the name of the game, what the rules are? And people might re-elect them, but 100%, we need to reset.
I mean, you got to do it in increments. You can't. I mean, there are like let's take a Nancy Pelosi or somebody like
shut themselves down. If they never shut themselves down, I could agree with you. They voluntarily close the government on a regular basis to say screw the citizens, so we can operate without them.
Well, we're doing that.
We have states and local city councils.
We're kind of doing that now under this Republican Congress. They really aren't. I mean, we are operating without them. Trump is doing it on his own. So awesome. Now in the comments, Magariax is suggesting that you are currently explaining why socialism sucks. I guess he doesn't understand it. You're also explaining why capitalism ain't working either. So I don't know.
I'm explaining a system. I'm explaining a capitalist system where I'm a greedy capitalist pig and I go, do I want to spend 75 grand to keep an unhomed person on the streets? Or do I want to spend 20 grand and house them and potentially get them back into work, producing and giving me taxes? I'm going to go for the secondary. I'll save money, and it just so happens I'm helping somebody. Do I want to save money as the government and keep you producing longer, healthier, making more money for me? So I should probably have healthy food and decent health care and make sure that we don't have drug interaction the way in which we do. So I should be wanting to keep my citizens as healthy as possible for as long as possible, as cheap as possible, so they can continue producing. And they're on the opposite of that.
So then I have to ask you then, why do you believe that we essentially do so little for the downtrodden? Like you mentioned the homeless as an example. We really don't view it like you're saying, it's only 20 grand to help them get back on their feet versus taking care of them. We don't seem to take that stance in this country. Why is that?
Because we ask the wrong questions. See how I'm fiscally responsible? I hijack republicanism on them. Show me the money. What's it cost to keep the person unhomed? How much does it cost to house them? Okay, so I can save money and not be a dick? Cool, sign me up for saving money and not being a dick.
No, I mean, I don't disagree with you, but I don't know. To me, it just seems like everything is money oriented. So if they can save money by letting you die, they're going to let you die. I mean, everything is based on how...
They profit because they harvest you afterwards and they give your family back a carcass and the hospital makes millions on transportation and the reorganization of those organs that they took from you. That's why you never sign up for organ donor on your driver's license.
What if I'm an organ donor? What are you saying? I'm going to be harvested?
You can chat to people who work in ER, and if they're two people, both with the same chance or one's got a slightly less chance, the person with the organ donor will be left and the other person will be helped because they see profit in the organ donor compared to the other person.
No, 100%. No, you say that ain't so. You're telling me that
ask ER nurses, don't take it from me.
I don't want to believe that. I may have to change my damn organ to understand. So you're telling me that if I'm on my last leg and because I'm listed as an organ donor, that may incentivize them to just let me go because I may be worth money or pieces of me may be.
Correct. You're worth about anywhere from 3 to 5 mil when you're parted out and priced out throughout the transportation and transplant system.
Is there anybody else that believes this? That's kind of frightening. I see in the comments somebody said, rest in peace, Nolan Wells. I know what you're trying to suggest because they don't know where some of his organs are either. But is there somebody else that believes that they'll take? That's kind of bad. Because I thought, listen, I don't mind.
When they harvest your organs, do you get paid?
No.
Can they legally sell them? No, but they transport them. And they re-put them back into somebody else and they store them. And all that insurance billing is worth millions of dollars.
Yeah. That's frightening. That is. I mean, listen, I don't want that to happen, but I can totally see that. I can see some folks being corrupt enough to do that. I mean, there are people who will dig you up and take your casket to resell it. So I'm sure there are some people that they can get away with taking your organs and letting you die sooner than you should have. I'm sure there are people who are greedy enough to do that. So it just sounds awful. I mean, that's the worst of humanity.
Israel made it legal where you can sell your spare kidney, and that's why there was people up in New Jersey, I believe it was, a bunch of, again, I'm not going to say a religious group, who were bringing in those organs and reselling them. It's a monstrous business. Look at the thing down in Mexico that they found. What were they doing to people down there? Why do you think China takes DNA from prisoners when they go to jail?
Why does China take DNA from prisoners?
There was a thing of that, yes. China was harvesting some of its prisoners at one stage, I believe. There was a huge outrage about that there a couple of years ago. But again, we're slightly off topic.
I mean, but it's interesting though.
To the system again.
It's off topic, but it is certainly interesting. It's frightening to know that mankind. I mean, that sounds like something out of the Third Reich, but yeah. I mean, it's believable though. I know people would do something crazy.
Let's even look at healthcare costs. If we look at ratios, what we have to do is analyze it from that perspective. Our wages have increased 1,900% since 1960, the average median income, yet healthcare has increased 10,800%. Housing, education, healthcare, all those things have been exponentially greater where we're going back to the company store model, where what you earn isn't enough to sustain you on a yearly basis, but they'll give you the books. We call it the credit system currently. So the whole thing is if you crash that banking system and you nationalize it, you've got every citizen on the company books and you've created the world's largest company store called America. Elon Musk wants the company towns.
Do you agree with the right that socialism could never work in America?
Socialism won't work because no one system will work, and that's the problem. It's capitalism with fair ethics, which is socialism. No one system works, and this is where everyone's flawed, because they expect one system to work. But unchecked capitalism isn't capitalism, it's unchecked.
Yeah. And that's what's been happening is the checks and balances on capitalism have been slowly slipping away. And I guess if you got socialism here and you got capitalism here, you want to be somewhere around there, and it's going much, much further in that direction than it needs to be. That's what it sounds like you're saying. So
the system is being designed where people are sent in a school to prison system because Republican capitalism is socialism through services, whether it be the justice for-profit prison system, foster system, unhomed system. This is how they make their profit. How much money did they make with alligator Alcatraz? How much money do they make with ICE? To get out an ICE agent, how much money does that cost? How many vehicles do I need? Whereas Democrat capitalism is, let's give you a hand up. Hope that you do better so we can spend less and we all do better. It's just a reverse. But Republican capitalism is pure socialism off of the system. Well, they allow citizens to suffer. They profit off the suffering of citizens. That's the difference in Republican capitalism.
So you don't favor that then?
I'm an honorable capitalist pig where you can help people and not have to do the wrong thing.
All right, well, yeah.
Between a capitalist pig and somebody who actually understands capitalism, which is you take care of your employees. Yes. You pay them a fair wage. Yes. All these basics. Yes, you do that.
You're certainly not getting, the Republican Party is certainly not promoting that you take care of your employees. Let me ask you this last question before I move it on from you. I got a poll going on YouTube right now. Almost well over 560 some odd respondents. So it's a fair bit of response. The question being, would Kamala Harris have been a better president than Trump? Well, we don't know because she never, she's never served at that level. But what is your take? Do you think she would have done a better job at being the commander in chief than Donald J? What say you?
I don't think we would be in the same economic problems and situations that we are, but we would be in a different emotional conflict, because it would be all about color and gender rights instead of person rights. It would be a different type of unease in the US, but not the same type of violence or economic problems.
What do you mean by color and
gender? Different.
Take me down to color and gender rights. What explain that?
Well, the Constitution is we the people, not we the colors and genders. It's all persons born have the same rights. Not all persons are given a label of color and gender by a third party. And based upon that, will get rights or permissions. That was called other persons. Other persons being 3/5. That's where we had to have the 14th Amendment. So to imply that a woman has rights, like what is a woman? A woman is a label of utterance and oppression, usually given by a straight white man to keep another born person down for their own personal, political, or worse, asset production abilities. To categorize a citizen into subcategories is unconstitutional. Just like a corporation, you're a person. So to run on, you're less than a corporation, and you need to pay me, and I'll get you permissions from 9 free persons that can be changed at any time, so you're going to keep needing to pay your vig, which is why we have Roe v. Wade. If we have the right as a person to eat that parasite whenever you want, which is legal, but we pass a law, that law creates profit, and then if the profit's not coming in, they pull the law to generate more profit, and then add in another categorization of transgender person so they can keep that vig going.
So then let me ask you this.
A right comes from the Constitution, a permission comes from the court.
So if it came down, if you had to cast a vote and your choices are Trump or Kamala Harris, where's your vote going?
Oh, it's always going Harris, but because I can't legally vote for Trump, if Trump's running again, we're up the creek because you can only be elected twice.
No. Let's say,
run 3 terms.
Did you vote in 2024?
Yes, and I voted Harris.
Okay.
Right. Because I was hoping that I could at least go up there and explain, hey, let me start auditing the Congress and then state constitutions, because she would understand the legal aspect. And I'm surprised when she got in as a VP, she wasn't like, gotchas. It's person rights, corporations, you can't donate, you're not the people. I know the law. We're shutting this shit down.
Because it's
that's why I was frustrated she didn't do it in 4 years.
Because that shit is above the scope of most people's intelligence. I got to move it on. Like I said, where's our money? Something simple like that people can understand. But the rest of that, you start talking about the corporations of people, because that's what Mitt Romney kind of talked about that as well.
But we have to understand that. Everyone wants to talk about Citizens United and AIPAC money. That's because while they're a person, they were given the rights of the people, which you should be really mad at. Because Dred Scott said a black person who's not a citizen can't be the people. So why are you allowing a corporation to be the people? I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
People, person, citizen. You guys should be the most mad at that inversion of rights and privileges, because that's what screwed the country up the most.
I can't argue.
I really appreciate your time as always.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good talk as always as well. Tap the screen. Get us on up to 75,000. We'll take the next caller. Tap the screen. Help your boy with the hat, mustache, TikTok cap goals. A woman is someone who was born female. That simple, says handsome conservative. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Just like I would say an election winner is somebody who won the electoral college. It's that simple. So I don't know why all these folks on the right can't say who won the 2020 election. So I do agree with you, though. Tap the screen in the comments. Mr. Splackerville says, hey, Tim, ask Alexa what the doctrine of delivery is. Alexa, what is the doctrine of delivery?
The doctrine of delivery is the legal principle that ownership of personal property transfers only when the item, or its symbolic representation, is actually handed over from one party to another, showing the grantor's intent to relinquish control. It requires either actual, symbolic, or constructive delivery, and without that transfer plus the intention, animus domini, ownership doesn't change. Are you interested in how this applies in different types of property transfers?
No. Alexa, stop. Actually, I am interested in that, but I got to run a show. Alexa, stop. Don't tell me. I'm actually interested in it. I gotta, because that ran through me so quick. I'd have to sit down and really pay. I mean, that was a hell of a response. I'm curious though. I'm curious like that monkey and the man with the yellow hat. But nobody voted for Kamala. Democrats killed democracy. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever, Ray. If nobody voted for Kamala, then the Democrats are not in power. So how could the Democrats have killed democracy? You kind of sound like President Trump controlling the House, Senate, executive branch, and the judicial branch by the Supreme Court and blaming Democrats for everything. That makes no sense. If they're not in power, how the hell can they be killing shit? It makes no sense. Trump during the State of the Union address, right before the war broke out, was bragging about how great the country was doing. So he didn't say nothing about democracy is dead. So yeah, what you're saying doesn't even make sense compared to, if you go back and look at Trump's State of the Union address in February, he was talking about gas prices are only $2 a gallon and how great we were doing. Not once did he say a damn thing about democracy is gone. So what you're saying doesn't make sense. Thank you for the TikTok caps, Smokey. Appreciate the support. Thank you. Hint, the answer is in labor unions. In the comments, Democrats killed the Democratic Party. That could be, Tobias. I mean, the Republicans have killed the Republican Party as well. It's the MAGA is what represents the right now. It's not the Republicans. It's MAGA. So I mean, yeah, that could happen. I mean, look, and that's why I tell folks, do not just assume that these Democrat socialist candidates have no chance in hell. By saying that, you sound just like the left, suggesting that a TV personality, that being Trump, had no chance in hell, and that a traditional straight-laced candidate like Jeb Bush, a product of a dynasty to be, was going to be the sheer winner. That's what the Democrats thought. There's no way this guy could win. Jeb Bush should be a shoo-in for this. And of course, the traditional Republicans thought the same thing. And here we go. Trump won because people wanted something different. They were tired of the two-party system. Trump, what did Trump say? What the hell do you have to lose if you try me compared to all of the shit you've been dealing with the two-party system? If you vote for me, what the hell do you got to lose? You might as well try something different. Just like he said Chicago was a shithole. What do you got to lose? The problem is people voted for Trump and he didn't give you different. He actually is more of the same, masked, packaged as something different. So now it's being presented on the Democrat side. The Democrat candidates are now running the same way Trump did in 2016. Once again, what the hell do you got to lose? You're not progressing under the Democrats or Republicans in their form of capitalism. What the hell do you got to lose? So I'm just simply saying, don't count these Democratic socialist candidates out. Trump is proving that non-traditional candidates can win and win big. Forever C10 says, appreciate the entertainment. Keep up the fine work. Thank you. And thank you for your support, Forever C10. Thank you. Give your boy incentive like that to make it keep going. Thank you. I'll go back to the box and continue on with the program. We'll make it happen with, I don't know what that says. We'll go to yesterday. Good evening, yesterday. Trump was good his first term, though. Not saying that makes his decisions. Well, hold on a second. Yesterday, you got to echo. Hold on a second. In the comments, one of the viewers says Trump was good his first term, though. Not saying that makes his decisions now better or worse. I'm just saying that's why people supported him, because he did good. I agree. I don't think he did well with the pandemic at all. And I know a lot of folks on the left suggest that he was riding the Obama wave, but his first term is why he got reelected. But his first term, he was not surrounded with loyalists. He had actually what he claimed he was going to get the second term, the best and brightest. He had very, very experienced and educated cabinet members. The second go round, it's just, can I trust you to be loyal? Good, you're hired. It's that type. So that's what's causing him to fail, is because the first term, we had experts in all those positions. Now we just have him And he's not. He's a, what did they call you? A jack of all trades, an expert at none. He's kind of that. He's running all the different branches of government, the military, everything. He's not an expert in any of that. Yesterday, good evening. Yesterday, are you there? Okay, well, moving on. In the comments, lies, more lies by party to destroy America and or the globe. Pure evil, save humanity. Yikes. Speaking of that, I'll go to the next caller and tap the screen, get us up to 75,000. Speaking of the notion of destroying humanity, I want you to hear this this clip. This is the one and only Kamala Harris. I did have a couple clips I wanted to play you from her. Not many, but I don't think I'm gonna even be able to see because I can barely see the damn timer in this thing here. But I want you to hear this. Oh, this is not the clip I was going to play, but I want you to hear this particular clip coming from our former VP. Somewhere up in there. There we go. That aspired to be president. Looking at Trump called the Kung Fu virus, and Democrats called him stupid for saying it. Came from China, and even if it came from China, which is true, the term Kung Flu is what they're, whatever. I mean, it's a racist term. That's how they view it.
It's so unbelievable that they got rid of USAID. And you saw the recent numbers. As many as 600, 700,000 people have died because of withdrawing American aid for humanitarian purposes on that continent.
And USAID fund.
I'm curious, how do you guys feel about that? Because when they did that, that was pretty popular on the right. I don't know. Does the folks on the right, I'm talking to my beloved MAGA that are watching now, because right-wing media is not going to tell you that. Are you guys aware that many people perished when they stopped giving them food and medical assistance and medicines and things like that? I mean, by canceling USAID, and keep in mind, you, me, and Joe Q Public, we ain't seen none of the money. So I'm just gonna be honest with you. If my tax money is keeping people alive, and you decide you're not going to do that, and you're not going to refund me the tax money, I'd rather you just keep the folks alive with it. I mean, none of us have seen any of this savings at all. So 600 grand, 600,000 people. Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot for less than 2 years in office. And that will follow him historically, no doubt. Going back to the box, MAGA reacts. Good evening, MAGA. Least racist, says John. Yeah, that don't look good. MAGA reacts. Are you aware of that? Do you believe that number?
The people died? No, I think it's a bullshit number.
Do you think anybody died?
I'm sure you could find somebody.
You think? So you think it's
like, if they needed the help, they could go to the State Department, and the State Department could do everything USAID did.
What do you mean go to the?
You didn't need a separate fucking department to give out money.
Okay, so you believe the State Department under Trump would still do it?
Yeah. We help out countries all the time. We just helped out Japan the other day.
I don't know. What was what do you think the purpose was of canceling USAID?
To get rid of more bureaucracy? I mean, do we need 20 departments to do the job of one? If one could do it? You have the U.S. State Department. They could easily do it.
Okay,
why do you need another fucking department?
Then why not automatically move USAID into the State Department? Why cancel it?
Because the State Department could do the same thing. They don't need two people to do the job of one.
Yeah, but why put the hurdle up that requires them to ask for something that you've been doing? If you don't want the extra bureaucracy and you believe the State Department can do it, then blend USAID into the State Department. And that way for folks overseas, it'll be a seamless transition. Why would you cancel them out? You know, a lot of those poor folks can't reach out to the State Department. Why would you cancel it outright?
Why could they reach out to USAID and can't reach out to the State
Why do
Department?
they need to? Why not just blend it in?
The State Department could do it all. It's supposed to be the State Department's job to do this shit. You don't need a separate department to give out aid.
I'm not arguing with the notion that maybe a different department can do it. What I'm saying is, why didn't they just move it over? Why didn't America do that? Why would you add this additional hurdle to them? You're talking about you don't need bureaucracy.
What do you mean? They probably removed the hurdle, if anything.
I haven't heard anything to suggest. In fact, from what I can tell, most of the aid we've been doing for everybody from Ukraine on down, you mentioned Japan, but from what I can tell, most of the worldwide assistance we've given everybody has been canceled under Trump. I don't know of anybody we're helping out.
That's not true. That's bullshit.
Give me some examples.
We're still giving out aid left and right, and it goes through the State Department where it's supposed to go through.
I'm not aware. Giving out aid to Israel, maybe. I'm not aware that we're still being
Israel, Egypt, Japan, Argentina, fucking Venezuela. I mean, all you gotta do is listen to one fucking hearing with Marco.
You think we're giving? You think we're actually?
Whatever the head of the State Department is, the Secretary of State.
You think we're actually giving to Venezuela?
Yes, we're selling their oil, we're giving them money, and we're helping them with the earthquakes. You know, they had an earthquake recently. We sent a lot of fucking aid to help them with the earthquakes.
That ain't
who do you think did that?
Yeah, that ain't
Who do you think did that? Sent them the fucking bulldozers and all the help they got to help them with the earthquake they got.
Yeah, that ain't what I'm hearing. From based on what I'm seeing.
What do you mean?
I'm trying to explain it to you.
Helping them clean up the earthquake.
Yeah, with their money. Based on what I'm hearing, we're taking from that country, selling their product, taking a cut of it, and giving them back some of the money. We're not helping them out. We're helping ourselves out.
Earthquake relief, then. Those are two separate subjects. But either way, we're giving them earthquake relief. Even if they had no oil, like Haiti and all these other countries, we sent people to help with earthquake relief.
Yeah.
And we did that without USAID. Wow, how did we do it without USAID, Tim? I'm about
to respond. There's no way in hell, I believe, while we're controlling their oil supply, that we help them out with a hurricane, and we don't intend to take money from that oil supply to pay back what we spent over there. Just like Trump wanted money back from the Ukraine in the middle of a goddamn war. He wanted money back from them. You think he want to help the Ukrainians? I mean, he's going to help out the Venezuelans for free? No, we're not helping them out. We are charging them for what we're doing there.
As far as I know, we haven't sent them a bill. Either way, we sent them the help. Whether they paid for it or not, that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah, I'm
Same
certain.
with USAID. I mean, what makes the difference if the State Department does it or USAID does it?
Well,
they needed help and we sent it. That's the important part.
Yeah, the point I'm making is I don't think we're helping anybody out. Sending bulldozers at a cost is not helping out. Then you're selling your services. That ain't helping nobody out.
Wait, who says it's a cost? First of all, you're pretending it's a cost. You have no evidence that it was at a cost.
I'm going back Trump's MO, his method of operation.
What if USAID did it and we send them a bill from USAID? That doesn't make a difference, does it? My whole point is the U.S. Department was able to send them help. So we didn't need USAID to do it because the U.S. Department handled it on their own.
Well, in the comments,
it goes up to you guys. We have like 20 departments for every fucking thing, and that's why we want to.
To me, when it comes to reducing bureaucracy, you don't start with poor, starving people first. I mean, there's plenty other ways you can cut and shorten government as opposed to doing.
Why not? That's what exactly.
I don't know. Maybe because 600.
Unless money goes to a department that we don't need.
You say why not? Maybe because 600,000 people may die. Maybe that's the reason.
Well, what do you mean? If the U.S. Department helps them and sends them the money instead of some shitty department that we don't need, well, what does it matter if the money comes from the State Department?
So they're not getting any assistance from us now at all. So we know people are perishing because of that. Are we reaching out or doing anything or just letting them die?
What does that have to do with the actual department? If we're choosing not to help them, what does that have to do with USAID? If USAID was around and somebody wanted help and we don't want to help them, guess what? We can still choose not to help them. It has nothing to do with having a department to handle it.
Yeah, and in regards to your comment, Denkel says Venezuela had to go to IMF for relief. So we were not readily helping them out with that. I heard what he heard. I heard that we were not really helping out Venezuela during that hurricane. I mean, during that earthquake.
Earthquake. I don't know.
No, we wasn't. So my reaction, you said that why do we need USAID when people can get it from somewhere else, or they can do it?
It's supposed to be.
Okay, that's what I'm going to, brother. That's what you said. So answer me this: why did we need Doge?
To go through and organize everything.
I'm going by
to make sure that the government's running efficient.
I'm going by I'm using your point of what you just said about USAID. So that means that when USAID was implemented, there was a reason for it to be implemented, like there was a reason for those to be implemented, correct?
Yeah, I'm sure there was back then, but what if that reason is gone and we don't need it anymore?
It ain't gone.
Get rid of it.
It ain't gone.
Okay, so
the reason's gone because you don't need a whole department to handle shit like this because we have computers to do the job now. That makes jobs easier.
Okay, so let's go with what you just said. We don't need those because we have computers to make the job easier.
We still need someone to go through and organize everything and figure out where all the money's going and what we need and what's redundant.
Okay, so let's go with what you just said. We need USAID because we need people to allocate things and to focus on what things are needed the most.
Do that. Do we have a department for government efficiency other than Doge? If there's another department, we could get rid of Doge.
And the government, and our government can do it themselves and don't need those. See, what I'm making, the point that I'm making is the same point that you are making.
Where the State Department has been giving out aid.
Okay, so USAID had to be implemented because people wasn't doing it. The same thing. The point that I'm making is the same argument.
I'm sure back then when you implemented it, you needed a whole department to do it.
Okay, so when Doge was implemented,
do it themselves.
When Doge was implemented, we had AGs that was looking into stuff like how they was investigating Elon. And when Doge was implemented, the first thing Elon did was fire all the people that was investigating his companies and his businesses, or what something like that. So what that showed was we had people, because these people were doing the job and investigating. That showed that when Doge came in and what they was doing, we already had people that was doing it. So the argument that I'm making is the same argument you make about USAID is the same argument you can make about Doge.
Okay, Elon had the EPA investigating him, the FAA. He had pretty much every department, the DOJ, every department in the fucking government investigating him because Biden was pissed that he became a Republican during COVID, basically. So
how can you prove that?
Right, you don't have any evidence for that.
How can you? Because I heard you say earlier. Hold on, brother. I heard you say. Go ahead.
And then the USAID was started in November 3rd, 1961. I'm sure back in the 60s, we needed a whole department to handle aid, especially back then when a lot of people needed aid. But today, the State Department could easily handle it because we have the technology and we can do it.
Let me interject. Now, this came straight out of the comment section. Travelman rightfully pointed out, you do realize by canceling USAID, you fucked over a lot of farmers because all of that stuff was coming from Americans. All of the Americans that would go over there in the Peace Corps, you killed a lot of American jobs by.
The State Department can still do it.
It ain't happening, MAGA. It ain't happening. It doesn't matter what can. It doesn't. Hold on.
It's not because the department was taking
No, what I'm saying is.
Let me ask this question real quick. So, Matt, what you said as a choice. So, what you are saying is the Trump administration is making a choice not to help our farmers.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's say the next administration.
Bro, answer the question I just asked you.
Off your facts. I don't even know if your facts is true or just bullshit as well.
Don't look at it like I'm giving facts. I'm talking about what we are talking about and the things that you are saying. That's what I'm talking about.
Say a Democrat takes over in 2028. They don't need to re-implement USAID. The State Department could do everything USAID was doing it. You don't need a whole separate department anymore. It's not 1960 anymore. It's 2026. You don't need a department for every little thing.
Do you understand? Wait a minute.
State Department.
Okay. Do you understand what I'm saying? Look, I'm not arguing with you. Hold on. Hang on. Let me just say this real talk. Do you understand? I get the point about another department can do this or whatever, but the point I'm making is farmers would make that rice and wheat and grain, and that would go to USAID, and the American farmer would receive a government check. So their farms are not being producing those products anymore. The farmers are hurting. Okay. The argument was the State Department. Hold on, hang on. Let me finish the point. The argument is Americans are getting hurt because you quote unquote wanted to reduce bureaucracy. Well, the State Department could do it, but they're not doing it though. So people are getting hurt because of this.
We don't know that.
We do know that. They're complaining about it.
Let me tell you how. Let me tell you why we don't buy all that shit from the farmers.
Here's what I'm saying.
Pay the farmers. The State Department can do all the.
It ain't happening though.
We don't know that. So, Mac, hold on real quick. Mac, hold on real quick. You said that we don't know that, right? But see, how do we not know that? When we saw them Arkansas farmers all on the doggone town hall, and then you had people talking about something, where they MAGA hats at, because they ain't in there, and all them sitting in that town hall, and they praying, or whatever the case may be like that, talking about something they need Trump to help them, because they losing their farms, they going out of business. Some of these people done had these farms and they families for generations and losing them. So when you say, hold on, brother, when you say that we don't know that, you right, me and you don't know that, Mr. Tim don't know that, because neither of us have a farm, but we can look at the ones that do, and that's how we can know it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all over
there. They can get that same check from the State Department.
But they're not getting it, MAGA.
Why is it not happening? The Department could buy the food from them and go send it to Africa.
Why is the Trump administration not doing it, brother? Why they not doing it?
Okay, I don't know why they're not doing it. That's a question for the State Department.
What you're basically saying, all of this rigmarole we're going through is because they wanted to reduce bureaucracy of a very important office. Not only was it keeping USA patients alive, it was also keeping farmers fed. All of it is because we wanted to shut down one office.
Tim, what if we had the office and they still chose to fucking not
then we would have a different conversation, but that ain't. Then we would have a different conversation. That ain't happening though. We could talk about that if that happens.
Whether the office is there or not.
But Margaret, brother, when you say what if this or what if that, we don't have to do what if this or what if that. All we have to do is look at what is going on. That's it.
Do you think
that's what we should focus on?
We got rid of a department we don't need.
Do you think this is a good outcome?
Everything USAID did to the State Department.
Do you think this is a MAGA? Do you think this? Okay.
That comes from the mouth of the Secretary of State.
Do you believe this is a good outcome? All of this drama, the benefit is we got rid of an office. The negative is all the stuff we're telling. Do you think that closing that office was worth all this?
The negative has nothing to do with the office. It has us. We stopped aid. Has nothing to do with closing an office.
If the office is open, these problems ain't happening. It does have something to do with it.
The office could be open and we can still stop the aid.
That's not what's happening though.
What if the office was open and we still stopped the aid, Tim?
What? Then we would be having that.
To stop
okay.
Sending
if that scenario existed, then we would be discussing it. But that's an if. That ain't what's going on. What's going on is they shut it down and the people are not receiving help. You're coming up with something that's not happening.
USAID isn't the source of the money. USAID isn't the source of the food. So someone else in the State Department could take over their fucking job.
When you say the State Department, you're talking about Trump.
Yeah, he's still talking about the fact.
They're not farmers. USAID were not farmers that we fired.
I know, but when you talked about the state can take it over, at this moment, you talking about Trump.
Yeah, he's talking about the federal State Department.
Okay, so brother, let me ask you this question. Let me ask you
all that shit.
So let me ask you this question, right? Marco Rubio supposed to be taking over it, but Trump is our American leader. Or if case should be like that. And I'm not like some people and look at the people at the bottom. I'm looking at the people that's allowing things to happen. The people who got the power to tell somebody, you better go over there and do your damn job or you're fired. Or okay, not the people that when I sit here and tell a lie about something and then you tell the truth about it and then you're fired. Those not the ones that I consider leaders. The ones that I consider leaders is the ones that's running our country, the head of our country, and see our people suffering because people not doing their job. So per what you are saying, brother, when I brought up the Arkansas farmers, You are, I don't know if you know, but brother, you are.
3 minutes, 3 minutes.
If you give me the next live, I'll go Google what's going on with them, and we can have that. We can have that debate.
No, and I appreciate you even saying. I respect that for you even saying.
I'm up here talking about the fucking bureaucracy of USAID.
Debo, I see that comment, Debo.
Tim brought up of how our farmers also benefit from USAID, and that's in the bureaucracy of what you're talking about. Like, for an example,
if the U.S. Department can do the same shit, who cares if we get rid of USAID? The U.S. Department can go out there, pay the farmers.
Let's go with that then. We don't need new USAID or whatever, but that still means
we don't need a USAID. The State Department can do the same exact job.
Okay, look. If USAID,
let them state this point, MAGA.
If USAID was helping our farmers and you said that we don't need it because the state can go ahead and do it, then what you are admitting, the State Department, then what you are admitting to that Trump is failing our farmers.
Yeah.
I don't know that because I don't know what's going on right now. I'm going off what you're saying. I don't know what's going on with the farmers. But getting all this regular aid.
And tell him I'm saying this time, you can go ahead and drop me down.
Go ahead.
Brother, look,
let him make his last point.
Look that up. We could have that debate. But as far as USAID being needed, it's not needed because the U.S. Department can do the job.
Brother, the problem is what I have noticed of getting on Trump Truth Social and getting on a lot of these MAGA lives. The problem is, or whatever case they be like that, and just like I see these Republican politicians, y'all know everything about what the Democrats not doing and what's making them look bad. But when it come down to the people that y'all supporting, the ones that y'all defending, y'all never know. Y'all never know the things that people know that who don't support them. And that's crazy.
No, I came up here to talk about
Kamala. All right, real talk. That was definitely real talk. Real talk, thank you.
If I was ready for a fucking debate about USAID and fucking the farmers, I mean, I was ready for USAID. I just wasn't ready about the fucking farmers part. I don't know what's happening with them.
Well, you would have to know if we're sending aid to other, because it wasn't just money. We were sending medicine. We were sending doctors over there to help them out and shit like that.
And I'm sure we're still doing it, Tim.
No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we are not. We are not.
I almost want to bet you money. If I wasn't so sore from that last bet, I might go look this up.
All right,
I find out that we're still doing it because I know we sent help for that earthquake. So who's sending that? Who sent the help for the earthquake?
Is my device overheating? It's telling me my device is overheating. All right, I'll move it on. As far as the earthquake is concerned, we did send them a little bit of supplies, but we didn't send them nowhere near enough, which is what Dencal brought up.
Okay, you could have said the same thing if USAID was around. And be like, oh, they only sent them this
I'm just going to tell you, what I want you to look up is the fact that Americans were hurt by canceling USAID. You can talk about the State Department could have picked it up or whatever. All of those are federal organizations. So Trump canceled one federal organization and did not make sure there was another federal organization to pick up the slack. It's all happening under his administration. So it don't matter when they don't separate the State Department from where the money was coming from. It happened under Trump.
Forget USAID. Say there's something that needs to be done. And back in the 60s, you needed like 10 people to do it, and you had a whole separate office for it back in the 60s. Now in 2026, since the technology and fucking all the shit we have, you don't need a second office.
Okay.
The main office could just handle it. Are you still going to keep that second office forever? Or
Well,
you get rid of that
you make a point, and here's my answer to that. First, hold on, let me answer. You didn't let me answer the question. You asked the question, then you kept talking. You asked me, am I keeping the second office? And I said, in response to that question, what I'm going to do if I got redundancy, my primary goal is to first make sure everything is working as normal before I start taking things offline. Just like if you got a business and you got two offices, or let's say you merge with T-Mobile merges with Sprint or something like that. You don't just drop everything from Sprint before you make sure that T-Mobile can absorb all of that. So when you start talking about we got redundancy, make sure nobody drops off land before we close that second office. They closed it immediately. So that way all of the farmers are suffering, all the people who used to receive the shit are suffering. They didn't do any checks. So now what, you don't close shit, and people are hurting, farmers and the recipients, and it's like, well, the State Department need to figure out how to pick back up and fix all that damage we left behind. Closing the office shouldn't be that serious.
There's two arguments here, and the only argument I was making is the USAID was redundant, and we didn't need it because we have the US.
I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that. What I'm saying is you streamline shit first.
I'm not arguing the other stuff.
No,
I'm not arguing the other
no.
stuff.
The point I'm making is
we didn't need USAID
the failure is you streamline stuff before you start closing stuff. You don't just say we got redundancy. Let's shut this down, and you know people are going to get hurt by doing it. That's what they did.
Well, Tim, and that's why socialism sucks, because it's these same idiots that are going to be doing all this shit.
I gotta go.
These same idiots that you're complaining about every fucking day, you want them to run your healthcare, you want them to run your fucking grocery stores. You're up here complaining about.
What do you tell the girl? What do you tell that girl I played? Did you see the video of her? What do you tell her?
What do you mean you tell her? You tell her that we're already socialist, and that's the reason we've been fucking.
No.
The country's been hurting because all the socialist shit we're doing is taxing us too much money. It's being done like shit. It's being wasted on corruption. There's a huge chunk of it going to corrupt people that are not using it to help anyone. I mean,
okay. Let me. Okay, I want to play it again. Okay, I want to. Okay, I want to play it again for folks who haven't seen it, and I'm gonna ask you a couple of direct questions. I want to get your answer from.
It's the voters. That's who the party is, and that's where we are.
You have two or three self-identified Democrats are not afraid of the word socialist. What do you think that means?
I think people are seeing that capitalism is not working for them, that this unchecked, unfettered, big businesses, the oil companies getting richer during a war, like they see that. They see it over and over and over again. People my age, I'm about to turn 43. My whole adult life has been this, just less and less, the wages just basically the same and cost of everything going up. Everybody sees it. Everybody's hurting. My generation now, we're about to send our kids to college. How? Have you looked at what college costs now? How are we?
Okay, now I want to ask you, okay, you got somebody promoting socialism. Obviously, you don't agree with socialism. How do you respond to her talking about the wages are remaining the same while things are going up? What do you tell her?
Well, for one thing, she was complaining about the cost of college.
She said wages. She said wages too. What do you tell her? She said the wages are the same while everything is going up. What do you tell her?
I tell her that's because, okay, this is what, the problem is that's not where I would start. Where I would start with is this. Who are you more unhappy with? Walmart or the U.S. government or your state government?
I just want, and she responds by saying, "I just want my wages to match inflation."
Let me ask you though. Forget her crazy ass.
I want you to answer that. She's not. That's the problem. The problem is she ain't crazy. She got millions of people following her. She ain't fucking crazy. People are this is resonating with people. What do you tell these folks? Because the folks who are promoting socialism, this is one of the issues, is that the wages are not keeping up with inflation. What do you tell somebody that's talking to
socialism is only going to cause more inflation, and it's only going to make the wages even worse.
Okay, socialism, I get it. Okay, so socialism bad. Socialism bad, but what do you tell somebody who is complaining that wages are not keeping up with inflation? Socialism bad is not a solution. What do you tell somebody that's complaining about that?
That we need to improve the cost of doing business, because if the company could pay its employees more, it will.
That ain't happening though. Years of capitalism.
Because we've made it more expensive to do business. How
have we made it more? The corporations get far more tax breaks now than they ever did back in the 60s, like you keep bringing it up. How are we making it more costly to do business? They're doing better now.
No, well, we're making it where you can't even do any business in America. You have to do the business
overseas. What the fuck are you talking about?
Over here.
And that's due to socialism?
Yeah.
How did socialism?
How did a lot of businesses? So instead of competing in the United States, they went overseas where they don't need to compete.
So you're telling me when Nixon and Reagan allowed folks to outsource their call centers and all this shit to China and all that was socialism they were doing?
That was no. I don't think that part was socialism.
Then what are you talking about?
Tim, I don't know what to tell you.
I believe you.
You're bringing up shit I wasn't ready for, but
all right.
Look, the way I see it is We made it expensive to do business here in fucking America. That's why we had to go overseas and do business over there and bring in the goods really cheap to America. If we would have made it cheap to create shit in America, people would have more jobs and wages would normally fucking grow.
There's no way wages are going to increase in America and it's going to be cheaper to do business here than in China where you're paying people pennies per day. It's always going to be more expensive to do business here. We pay a better salary. And if you want the salary to follow inflation, it's got to get even better. Even with her bitching and complaining, our salaries are still better than China right now. So I don't get what you said. I got to move it on.
If we listen to her, it's going to cause more inflation, and that's a known fact.
Okay.
And she wants the same idiots that fucking up the government to run more shit. And it's the same idiots that make college unaffordable, and this is
all under capitalism, and all that stuff happened. All of that stuff you're talking about happened under capitalism. The colleges didn't increase due to socialism. That's capitalism you're complaining about.
Our system is a hybrid, and it's because of the socialism side of it.
All right, I gotta go.
Bigger and bigger.
I gotta go. I vehemently disagree with that. I don't believe the colleges are ripping us off due to socialism. I don't know where he's getting that from, and the reason why I'm hammering this point along is because for folks who are complaining about socialism potentially destroying this country, you got to come up with an answer to give her, because this is what people are complaining about. I don't think people wanted to abandon capitalism. It's exactly what she is saying, is that capitalism isn't working for them. So you can't tell somebody who's complaining that I can't send my kid to college, housing is unaffordable, my wages are not meeting inflation. You can't respond to that with socialism bad. Because otherwise you're telling them, okay, it's bad, but what you're asking for is worse. Just keep staying in the status quo. They're not going to buy that. They've never experienced socialism. They are experiencing what we're going through now. They want to get rid of this. You got to come up with ways that answer the question she stated. My last caller didn't have any answers for that other than socialism bad. That ain't going to work for these folks. That is not going to work anymore. Certainly now that Mamdani is in office and one of the socialists have gotten through, and they're not, like I say in every live, the city of New York better be falling apart in the next 2 years, or you're going to have a whole lot of socialists running for president. If that city ain't falling apart in the next 2 years before the 2028 national election, you're going to start seeing socialist candidates popping all up over the fucking place. It's kind of happening now anyway in the midterms. But if 2 more years of Mamdani in New York is functioning as normal, you're going to see a whole lot of these folks. Because now they got one through, and they'll have an actual way to demonstrate what the right is saying is a lie. You guys already failed when you said it about Obama. You said Obama was a socialist, and he, for the most part, governed effectively. So now you got people in there that are proving that what you're saying is just fear-mongering. U.S. spent $386 million in the quake aid in Venezuela, says Bama Landscaper. So you're saying when Venezuela had an earthquake, we spent $386 million? I don't believe that. I can't dispute it. I just don't believe it. I don't believe Obama. I don't believe Trump during Venezuela. That's a lot of money, by the way. I don't believe Trump used $386 million in U.S. taxpayer money to help Venezuela out after that earthquake. I just don't believe it. I believe he may have taken their oil and sold it and raised $386 million plus or minus his cut for selling it. I don't believe Trump. I don't believe we spent that kind of money on Venezuela. I'd be real shocked if that's the case. You know how much it costs for a helicopter to rescue a person on a cliff in California? $70,000 for the helicopter. Why does it cost $70,000 for a helicopter? The person that's needing rescue on a mountain doesn't get to keep the helicopter. What do you mean it costs $70,000? The helicopter is only spending fuel to fly from wherever it's at, to hover over the site, rescue the person, and bring them down safely. Why the hell does that cost 70 G's? That doesn't make sense. They don't leave the helicopter with where, we helped your boy out and we parked the helicopter in the back by the garage. That ain't how that works. Now, if it costs 70 grand Like somebody rightfully pointed out how much it costs for an ambulance. Maybe due to heavy markup, maybe they do charge 70 grand just for the ridiculous markup, but it shouldn't. I mean, they're certainly not spending 70 grand worth of labor and fuel to come get you. So yeah, if they're charging that kind of money, that's insane. I mean, but I don't doubt it may be possible. I mean, people do get flown by Life Alert. You crash on a highway or something in the rural area, send a helicopter to come get you. I don't know if they're charging your insurance 70K though. My guess is the insurance companies probably have some kind of deal with them. That's a lot. We literally burned supplies and let food rot when we canceled USAID. I remember that. I do remember that. We did let foodstuffs and things like that rot and destroyed stuff when we canceled USAID. That absolutely did happen. That absolutely did happen. I don't see any legitimate reason for why we cancel USAID. Now, I agree with what Handsome Conservative stated. He says, I feel we should be using money for the American citizens before other citizens. But we're not. And that's what I stated. If you're going to stop helping out countries overseas and you're going to use that money instead to focus on the well-being of Americans, it's something I might be able to get behind. But if you're going to stop helping out people overseas and none of the money is being spent here either, I don't favor it. I'd rather know my tax money is going to save lives. Trump has reportedly saved us billions of dollars. USAID, all the federal employees he fired, not giving money to Ukraine, saved us billions of dollars. Nobody's seeing any of it. Nobody is seeing any of that money. So I would rather the federal employees still be employed. The money still be going to help USAID. Nobody is bragging about seeing it. Remember the rumor about Doge stimulus checks? He was going to give out a stimulus check. Nobody's seeing anything. The citizens of this country are actually doing worse than they was before Trump got elected. Things have gotten worse. So nobody's seeing any of it. I suppose you're seeing it if you like watching a military parade on TV or a UFC fight, or knowing that a pool is going to be dyed a different color, maybe seeing Trump flying around in that beautiful new jet. Maybe that's your fancy. Knowing about a tribunal arch is going to be built. Big, huge portraits of Trump, that portrait of Trump. Maybe you like looking at that. But in terms of where you seeing the money that's tangible in your life, somebody help me out. Anyway, moving on with the program, and tap the screen, get the likes on up to 110. Help your boy out with the hat, mustache, TikTok cap goes. Haven't seen that in a while, but if you will, Debo, thank you very much. Is this guy a fan of CSA? Am I? It's an interesting question. Donald Trump false posting on Truth Social will be starting soon, just to let you delusional Republicans know. Here come the white nationalists running in the chat. What is a white nationalist saying? We like talking to some MAGA, some white nationalists. Let me go back to the box, tap the screen, get us up to 110, if you will. Going back to the box will make it happen with Travelman, one of my subs. Good evening, Travelman. Welcome to the program. I've been saying Massey 2028 forever, genius. Well, Trump is not pro-Massey, so Massey, I don't think he would be able to do it now. Travelman, good evening.
Man, sometimes listening to
MAGA Reacts, my last caller.
Good Lord.
You're a big fan of MAGA Reacts? Is that what you're telling me? You're a big fan of MAGA Reacts?
He conducts himself and tries to speak like he's such an intelligent guy politically, but damn, he's all jacked up. Okay? So first of all, before we go any further on Kamala, they started attacking USAID about 3 weeks before they actually shut it down. They demonized it. They put out a lot of misinformation that when people went and looked, they found out it was a bunch of BS. All right? Then they shut it down. As a result of shutting it down, they, excuse my French, they bent the farmers over for the third time, because they bent them over the first time during the war, the trade war with China. In the first administration, we had to give them billions of dollars. Okay. Then they voted for him the second time, but Biden won, and they made some money. And then they voted for him a third time, and he put more tariffs on, and they lost business again, so they got bent over again. And then they shut down USAID.
So not only did he ain't bent them over, he pulled their legs over.
Damn.
Okay. That's 3 times a day, and they voted for him, and they still talking that bullshit. Meanwhile, you foreign bankruptcy is at an all-time high. Suicide rate at an all-time high, right?
Yeah.
And then you have people, anybody that stand up there and say, well, I don't know if people have died. You took away damn HIV treatment. You took away malaria treatment. You took away all kind of treatment. And you think people just up and, I know, Trump in his Jesus picture went over there and healed all of them. That's the only thing.
Well, he's not denying that some deaths may have happened. What he is suggesting is the claim that over 600,000 died may not be accurate. He's saying that may be a grossly inflated number.
Based on the number of people that you're talking about, you're talking millions and millions and millions of people.
Yeah.
So 600,000, you might be talking.
It's an older clip. You're right. And that I played the clip of Kamala Harris saying 600,000. But yeah, I've asked Alexa in recent times. Yeah, the number, because the numbers continuing to grow. They're not helping them, so the numbers continuing to grow.
Exactly. And then what they did was they say, well, after they we moved everything over to the State Department. Well, the problem is, and this is where Rubio got caught in a lie when he testified in front of one of the committees. You move the programs over to the State Department supposedly, but the problem is you terminated everybody that runs the damn program. Okay, and this is the difference. The State Department deals with diplomacy and dealing with the countries. USAID deals with the program. They're the ones that have the experts that's building the water treatment system, that's setting up the hospitals. That's where the experts are at. So when they shut down USAID, those people left. And so therefore, and some of them couldn't even get home. Tim,
I do remember hearing that. I actually remember just like Dencal brought up they threw away food. I do remember hearing those stories. They just kind of left them stranded.
You know, I used to drive Uber down to DC. And so over at Dulles, I used to pick up people all the time, either going to the airport or coming back. And they were all working for an NGO. And they were all some nonprofit. And they were going to some wild ass country that I travel a lot. I've heard of them, and some of my has heard of. You know, there's a lot of people that was doing that. So to think that it wasn't needed, not only that, you had the small businesses over here. You had one business that had came up with this special peanut butter paste they had came up with, and they were sending it over, and it was real nutritious for the kids over there. They shut that down. Okay.
Why do you think Trump would do, because this almost sounds cruel. Why do you think Trump would do something like this? Because they would have had to predict that there are going to be lots of people that die if we do this. So why do you think the Trump administration, is it what MAGA reacts are saying? It was just to shorten bureaucracy?
No, they just don't give a damn. You know, it's like everything they were doing back then. If you take a look at every time they talk about cutting something, oh, we're getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. Bullshit.
Yeah.
It's not, everything they do is waste, fraud, and abuse. But they ain't showed it. We have not gotten anything from those except them stealing data and stealing personal data from the Social Security Administration and the VA and whatever. That's all we got from them.
Yeah.
You know. And then what was the other thing? DSA.
Yeah. How do you respond to a socialist? How do you respond to a voter that's promoting socialism that raises some of those concerns?
Well, first of all, out of all the elections that's been held, I think you got about 30 DSA people that won, and you got 100 or some Democrats. You know, so it's not like, of course, they like to jack it up like they're taking over the party or whatever. They're trying to say what's happening to the Democrats is what happened to the Republicans when MAGA took over. When the Tea Party and QAnon, when the Tea Party bent QAnon over, they spawned MAGA.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been fucking up the country ever since.
Well, I actually do agree that if Mamdani and some of these socialist candidates get it, well, Mamdani's already in. if these folks get in and they don't tear up their jurisdictions like the right is saying, I actually do think they will take over the Democrat Party, because even under the Democrat Party, a lot of Democrats are not doing well. The wages are still just like all the stuff she's complaining about. That stuff is happening under traditional Democrats too.
Yeah, but you're talking businesses. What are you going to do to the businesses? See,
Mom Donnie is talking business.
Some of the stuff that they were talking about, that lady that went on Fox News, I think you talked about.
That's this lady. That's who I'm playing. That is her.
But if you notice, and this is what I've just been reading about, is that most of the people that's actually running for office, they're distancing themselves from what she said. Especially the stuff about the prison and all that BS. That's total BS. That ain't gonna happen.
Well, no. Let me just say it like this, and I don't favor that crazy. This is the woman you're talking about that said all that, but it could be somewhat like Project 2025. Keep in mind the right was totally distancing themselves from Project 2025 as well. It sounded crazy, but they actually intend to do that shit. But they were Trump was saying he had never heard of Project 2025. It's amazing how much of it is coming true now that he's president. So I mean,
they're distancing themselves. They're distancing from that crazy talk part of it that he's talking about. Yeah, I want to get rid of the state. I want to get rid of the prisons. I want to get rid of all the other bullshit that she was saying. That's what the other they call themselves, that they're distant from that, not the other stuff, not the getting child care, not getting universal pre-K, not doing the stuff that what they're actually talking about. That anything you bring up, they say is socialism, and 90% of the damn people that bring that shit up don't even know what socialism is.
Yeah.
It's a talking point. It's kind of like, and I hate to bring this up. Because I never talk about it, but it's just like the same thing. We spend so much time on transsexual, or what do they call them?
Transgender.
And you got 400,000 Division I athletes, but only 50 are transgender. Okay, what transgender people do is not affecting anybody in this damn country.
Yeah.
And I said it once, I say it again. If a lady is in the bathroom and a transgender lady walk in there that is a true transgender lady and looks like a lady and walks like a lady and walks in there and goes over to the stall and sit down and use the bathroom, you ain't gonna know if it's a man or a woman.
That is true.
Now if transgender walk in there and stand up and take a leak, then that's a different story.
Yeah, but the women don't even have the facilities to do that. So you'd have to be looking in her stall to see her standing up.
Exactly. So we spend so much time on 1% of the population. And you know why? Because it's culture, Tim. It's just like when they did the CRT bullshit. Now they moved over to trans people. They have no representation. People beating the shit out of them, killing them. Okay. I'm not. I don't. They don't affect me. So I don't give a damn. I just don't. We're wasting. They're letting the Republicans control the narrative. Like what's a woman? Get the hell out of here.
I agree. Listen. I actually agree with the Republicans in regards to what they're saying. But I also agree with you that it's not affecting. Like, I don't believe biological males should be able to play in women's sports. I don't believe children should be able to have gender surgery or whatever they're claiming. But the difference is I don't believe it's happening to anybody.
Exactly. And and everybody get caught up in that instead of saying, get the hell out of here. You know what that's like, Tim? That's like the Republicans love to say, well, Democrats believe in AB up until the time of birth.
Yeah.
That's called murder.
Yeah.
Okay? It doesn't.
Well, shit, Trump said worse than that. Trump said that a woman could give birth, take the baby home, and come back the next day, and her and the doctor would talk about whether they want to get rid of it or not. So she went home with a live baby and came back the next day and decided whether they want to kill it or not. He said that.
You feel comfortable enough to say that to the people that you're standing in front of, and the people that stand in front of you got a serious case of head up Trump's ass syndrome, and they sitting there nodding their head.
Yeah, they do believe
so
that. They do believe that stuff.
Just stuck on stupid. You look at where we're at right now. Inflation is up. Grocery prices is up. Gas prices is up. The Strait of Hormuz, you got one ship a day going through there, maybe two. They get ready to shut down the damn Red Sea. The war, Iran dropping bombs all over the damn place. And people worrying about, well, what if Kamala would have won? If Kamala would have won, we probably wouldn't be in this bullshit because the U.S. has been war gaming this thing since 1979, just like the Iranians been war gaming against us since 1979. And there's a reason that no U.S. president decided to go in there. And if they do decide to put boots on the ground, like I said last time, add another ship to the body bag factory because we don't need it.
Can Trump get a win out of this at all?
Nope.
So, you know Trump doesn't like to lose, so that's a problem.
Hey, and the Iranians don't like to give up.
Shit.
They go down there and hit if we do that, like they talking about, kicking up the bombing campaign, and like I said the other day, if they hit a desalination plant in Dubai, within 3 days, they're out of water.
What about what, like the handsome conservative often says that we should just go gung-ho. Some people say turn them into a sheet of glass, basically do as much. What about that notion? Can we get a win if we just blow them to smithereens?
How can you get a win for war crimes?
Because you're not held accountable. You're not going to be just like Netanyahu is getting a win with war crimes. If you're not held accountable, it don't matter.
But you're not really getting a win because in the eyes of the world right now, Israel is damn near like a pariah nation. They're the ones raising all kind of hell in the Middle East. But we're gonna go over there. We can't do that, Tim. The wind blows. If they drop a nuke, NUK into Iran, they think it's just gonna sit there. The wind don't blow. It's not gonna go over to what's next to Iran? Iraq. It's not gonna go to Oman or any other countries that's close by. Come on, you know what? People that talk that crazy shit, they freaking delusional.
Speaking of talking crazy shit, Tamara is over on Clapper and he says, "Can you ask MAGA Reacts where is the 13 billion that's missing from Venezuela and oil sales?" That's what I'm talking about. We're taking money from Venezuela. We ain't helping them out. We robbing them motherfuckers.
That's because we got a freaking crook in the damn White House. They shut the man charity down. Who the hell gets a charity shut down? They shut down the foundation. He's a freaking crook.
No.
They had a big pussy down doing the reflecting pool. Remember Big Pussy off of what's the name of that gangster show on HBO?
I can't even remember, but I know what you're talking about.
Everything that they're doing, they, excuse my friend, everything they doing, they fucking up. It is.
I don't agree with you. I don't think they fucking up. I think to me, it looks like a heist. And it's a very successful heist. They're not fucking up. They're fucking up if you go by what they told you was fact. If you actually was expecting them to do that stuff, then yeah, they're fucking up. But in terms of enriching themselves, they're making a killing.
Well, they 100% successful. I'm talking about the state of the country, what they've done to the countries that they've been in. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, as far somebody they forever stuck on Joe Biden. They stuck on Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden ain't served no office. They talk about Hunter Biden had a career before he got on Burisma. They like to talk like he was just a crackhead or whatever. But he had a career. He did other things. Just but they talk about him, but they don't say anything about Don Jr. snorting cocaine also. But he's on the board of the drones.
Is there any evidence that Don Jr. does coke?
I just do that.
Okay. How about this? Speaking of throwing,
I would probably put money on him.
Speaking of throwing things out there, Handsome Conservative says, I think that he thinks you're upset because we got a gangster for a president. He says Trump 2028.
We got a gangster for a president?
That's what he said.
We got a gangster with no balls. Because Trump talks a lot of bullshit on social media, but then when you get in front of him, he wimps out. That's what he does. He has no balls whatsoever. Now I give it to him. He's using the power of the office. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
For the betterment of himself and his family, and to the detriment of the country.
That is undeniable. That is undeniable.
Okay. This motherfucker got bone spurs. You can't be a gangster with bone spurs.
Well, he could be a gangster with a limp. I gotta move it on, Travelman. He could be a gangster with a limp, though.
And they fucked up.
All right.
All right.
Good talk. Appreciate it. Digging in the scene with the gangster lean. Looking in the comments, Donald Trump doesn't need balls. He's got the nuclear codes. I mean, there may be a tad bit of validity to that, but I hate that type of I guess braggadocious or whatever you want to call it, because you're using American men and women to talk like that. I mean, there's no way we're gonna do that to Iran without Americans getting killed. So you're using men and women and people's children and shit to defend your ego. I mean, that's kind of what we're dealing with in Iran right now. You're using people have died for this shit, for his ego. That's because that's really all it amounts to. It's an ego battle. I think everybody admits at this point that this war was somewhat optional. So yeah, I'm not a fan of him having access to the nuclear codes and using that somehow as a threat on a non-nuclear nation. Why would we even be joking about dropping nukes on a non-nuclear nation? Aren't we the ones that suggest that if Iran gets a nuclear weapon, they're going to use it irresponsible? But yet we're talking about and I guess joking or making references to dropping a nuke on a non-nuclear nation. That makes us look like what we're claiming Iran would be. Maybe we're the ones that should be prevented from getting nukes if that's the case.
Out of these places, they know that the people are not stupid. The people see that they're paying too much for gas and groceries and housing and childcare. They know on merit that they don't have a whole lot to be proud of. And so they know that if the people vote, it is very likely that they may vote them out of office. And so they are cheating. And they are not without power. So we have to counteract that. And part of it is to remind, and this is what the Urban League does so well in every community around our country. We have to remind the people that the power is with them. We have to remind them that this is not a time to feel hopelessness, that if you feel powerless, you will be powerless. If you feel powerful, you will be powerful. And we are powerful.
But we have yes or no in the comments. How many folks believe what Kamala is saying, that the Republicans feel like they may get voted out of office, so they're cheating, is what she just said. She said the Republican Party is, remember, the Republicans are the ones that are always accusing the Democrats of fraud, election fraud, by way of yes or no in the comments. How many of you agree with Kamala Harris? If you agree with her, say yes. If not, say no. But she is saying that the Republicans fear getting voted out of office, so they are cheating right now. Yikes. I love Kamala says, let me put on my spectacles to read this little shit. I can barely see it. Thanks for the support. Thank you for your comment. He says, I love Herbert says, yes. Don't talk about American soldiers if you never wore one and you never gave birth to one. You never raised one. You never were a friend to one. Democrats don't care about veterans. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard, Tobias. And I respect you being in the comments. I appreciate your input, but that's the dumb. You think every fucking body in uniform, every fucking body in Arlington Cemetery, every fucking soldier in the Persian Gulf, you think all of them are Republicans? You think all of the people that are serving in the military, they're all Republicans, huh? Democrats don't care about veterans. I don't know if you realize it, but hundreds of thousands of Democrats are veterans. My dad was one. My uncle was one. My grandfather was one. That is a dumbest shot. And none of them were Republicans. None of them. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. You really think that all the people serving in the military are all Republicans, huh? That's crazy. I've never heard something so stupid. Anyway, that is so dumb. Another head up Trump's ass syndrome. He's stuck on. Look, he responds in the comments all the time. He leans right. I don't mind that. You know, I don't block Banner since I don't mind Tobias putting comments in there, but to try to suggest, and now you go, I said Marines. There is no branch of service that the entire military body is all one party. And I'm going to even say the Coast Guard. And I'm pointing at the Coast Guard because a lot of Negroes can't swim. But even the Coast Guard has black and brown Democrats serving in it. Even the Coast Guard. But damn, my dad was a Marine. You point out the Marines. My dad was a Marine. So my dad was a Marine that served in Vietnam, helicopter gunner. So yeah, that makes no sense. I mean, to even say something like that. You guys want to suggest that Colin Kaepernick disrespected the military. You make a statement like that, that's crazy. In the comments, they'd rather send the cash to Israel or Chabad. I don't even know what that's. Lutowicz, Big Apple tunnel construction loans. I don't know what even all that is. But yeah, I mean, Democrats don't care about veterans. Yikes. Just that right there was the craziest shit I've ever heard. Anyhow, your dad was a Democrat. Yeah, you think my dad growing up in the fucking late 40s? Yeah, he was a Democrat. Once the civil rights movement kicked in, he would have been, because my dad 48, I think he was, so he would have been 20, in the 60s or late 60s, right around that whole party switch. Once Martin Luther King was gone, Democrats, African Americans, Democrats from that point on. Once that party switch kicked in, that was it for the Republican Party. So yes, my dad was a Democrat. Whole family, by the way. I don't know. I think I may have one, and I think he's deceased. Well, I know he's deceased, but I think one of my uncles was talking about being a Republican during the George W. Bush years. But Trump, yeah, I can't imagine anybody in my family voted for Trump. Maybe if you go with what he campaigned on, which Trump campaigned on promising a lot of good shit, I could see it there. But right now that he's in office and people are seeing him not delivering on all that stuff, I can't imagine anybody in my family that would be like, this is the guy. I know some people who voted for Trump because they invest in crypto, African Americans, and they thought he was going to make them a mint in crypto. But most of the folks that invested in Trump's crypto lost a mint. So he promised a lot of good stuff, but the delivery has just been short-sighted. So Donald Trump doesn't need, I saw that in the comments. Also, the last time Democrats got the majority white vote, says a pimp. Well, yeah, because even Obama did not get the more. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. And you won't need the majority white vote if they kick out all the immigrants. So they may be trying to correct that problem. You get rid of the immigrants and reduce that population of brown people, and you could probably start winning a lot more elections on the right side of the aisle, because they do get plenty of white votes. So if you can make the white population a super majority in America, it would greatly increase the Democrats' chance of winning most elections. If you could make the white population like 70 to 80% of the country, you probably have a lot of Republican candidates from now on, or Republican victories from now on. They need to reduce the black and brown population. That could be what's at play. My brother is a black Marine vet. He is not conservative because of racist things he experienced while being in the service. Crazy thing is, I hear a lot of folks suggest that even now in 2026, there's still a lot of racism in the military. I still get folks on here regularly that served recently that are saying that stuff is still in there, even now. My brother Trump was a Democrat, but he said that Republicans were simple-minded. Yeah, we did say that. My father was in the Vietnam War, and he was in the Coast Guard in Vietnam. Fair enough. Anyhow, folks, got to step away. I do appreciate the 119,000. Follow the program if you're watching us on Instagram, Substack, TikTok, or Clapper. Give your boy a sub if you're watching on YouTube, but I do have to step away. It's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. See you tomorrow. Take care. And I got to go. If it lets me go, for some reason the program wants me to stay. Is that right? Why am I